Green screen.
Welcome to the Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every day. Sean is back. Neil is here. They're locked. They're loaded. They're ready to take the names as decided by you every day. So make sure to join Adair and I in the How to Trade midday show and get into the chat and vote for your ticker every day. Yeah, look at the cues here. Undecided really is the cues. Lower highs but higher lows, trying to maintain a positive look right now. 0.11 positive last time I looked, but we're really on the border of that red to green line. So we'll keep an eye there. I didn't really have a look to see what the other exchanges were doing. We'll get that in a second. But Nvidia is the #1 name as decided by you guys. What a day. 4 3/4, 4 2/3 right now. No specific headline really on it, but there was an analyst who came out and said, Nvidia's earnings could continue to grow, guys, into 2026. So liking this one as a possible growth story.
Nvidia's earnings growing?
No.
What are we even talking about?
They're not even in the right sector.
In what world is this? I mean, come on. If you wanted to sit there and tell me that Mullen was going to grow earnings, or like Intel was going to grow earnings, or Rivian was going to grow earnings. I mean, you'd have an argument with me, but John, I don't know if I can get on board with this Nvidia thing that everybody's talking about.
The market's going to rebound. So, it definitely will not be led by AI.
Let's just throw that one out there. That's a fail. We're joking around, obviously, everybody. But VWAP, what's holding VWAP? Nvidia. And
get down.
Not much else. Until it stops doing that, the market's holding on for dear life. Yep. And I feel like if Nvidia loses VWAP, forget about it. Apple just recently lost a key support level. This might just be the last-ditch effort. It's a 109 that's holding. This was actually a breakout price this morning and a big reversal because last week it had the same resistance level pretty much all week long, right up here, just underneath the 109. I'll give her those later, but just beneath that 109 level where you closed 2 weeks ago, and it was a breakout. Now it's dip support, at least temporarily. Well, the market's been heavy since we left you. It's been lower highs into a flat bottom on the ES at 18.6. So I don't know how much I like these longs. Nvidia 109 doesn't look all that bad, but even this is looking like it wants to break this sucker down. So be careful. I think you've got one level to play off of, and then from there, maybe the 108 even as well here for Nvidia. That loses a bid. This market, I don't like its chances.
I'm trying to be short right now. The triple Qs. It's not really doing too much. I mean, we've just been fighting. We haven't gotten stopped out yet, but we've just been fighting. We just got some pushes back in. I was thinking about getting out if and when. It looks like we are trying to break right now, back down, back upside here. As looks like we just, yeah, here we go. We almost got stopped out there. We didn't. We were getting close, man. But just a couple more pennies upside and we will. There we go. So it just hit 12s. Yeah. So, all right. Last little chance there to short the market. I'm kind of feeling like what everybody else is feeling right now. We're under VWAP. We're under a few things. I do like this short. Maybe it needs to be a little bit higher up, though. I thought breaking lower right now could get it to the downside. I know we're going to talk about the SPY, so we can do that now. But Nvidia, just real quick. Yeah, I mean, Neil just looked at it. I think this is the one to go long, man. 5%. Every day when you're feeling one way or the other, today it just kind of what Sharif was saying, this NASDAQ is flat, right? I mean, you're up 0.08. We started the day at 0.3. We went down to minus 0.3 maybe, and then battled all the way back, and then up again, broke through the day's high, which we had on the TQs, and now starting to fade back out a little bit. So a pretty flat day. But what the long story is, or the short story is, if Nvidia is going to be up 5% on a flattish day, I mean, this is definitely the name we want to get long if we feel like the market's breaking out. And it's also, I believe, the name you want to get short as well if the market's breaking down, but not today. So today it's going to be a strong name. We'll wait to see if we can buy some dips. And I think, anything, it's already bounced off VWAP, which is now 109 flat. So you need to come down about 80 cents before you can get back into that level right here. That would have been the good dip buy. This is kind of when I started shorting the TQs, thinking that we were going to break, but that didn't happen. So yeah, Nvidia holding the fort here at 109. That's VWAP. So that's a level definitely I think a lot of us should be looking at for the short. I still want to get back into this TQ short. We'll be doing that in a minute. And day trader cut right there. I know Sharif's standing there, but yeah, we can either one get this. Monday, boom, minus 450. Good, right? And this is the thing, minus 450, but then your next day is 3.4K. right? Then 4.2K. So you're up like 8 Gs right there. Thursday, another 5. Let's give this dude 13.5 Gs. And then he goes another 2.5. That's a 15K week. Then today he goes half of that back in, another 8. So biggest lesson, sell into strength. So you were long at the bottoms there. Just day trader cut. Let us know what you did exactly, and maybe we could talk more about those trades. But here's an extra 20. Thank you so much. Yeah. Hey, you only have 15 Gs. Thanks for the $40. But I'm just playing around. That's great. But no, honestly, at the end of the day, let us know what you did there, and you know. If you were long at the bottom, maybe you sold that move. Sell into strength.
Sell into some of the highs, maybe. I mean,
maybe he shorted into strength, or maybe he sold the longs that he had previously had. So great trade there.
Either way, I mean, you could have
by day trader cut.
Yeah, you could have either way, but yeah, let us know. Are there a few people in the chat interested to know what you're looking at? That's what this community is all about. That's what we're trying to do around here. And also, we're going to go back to. We also try to make sure we wait around. And if you're wondering why,
how you good over there?
I'm just going to drag it on a little bit longer
he's fine.
for
You
us.
said he's fine.
Because last time I checked, he owes me. And so I like basically.
What happened there?
No, if you were watching last week,
which I
Sharif decided to take it upon himself to fire a rubber band at my head while I was trading. Like I was like this.
Why would he do that to someone who's handicapped?
I was just like this. I wasn't even paying attention, and then boom, I got a headshot, and you can see it's up on our Instagram.
Where is it? Let me see. I didn't see it again. I have to see it again. Replay.
It's on short. It's
let me just see what this looks like right here. Okay. So Neil's talking. Okay.
Well, Obi was reenacting it.
Oh, Obi was reenacting.
You have to see it from the beginning because you actually caught it was there live, the reaction, because I was really not paying attention. It'll loop around there in a quick little second, which is great because now Sharif is getting to sit there even longer.
Okay, so there's Randy.
That's Randy. He instigated everything.
Randy, the hardest working guy here. Yeah, for sure.
Firing rubber bands at Sharif, and then boom.
That's it, yeah. But did that hit you?
Right, Sean, right here, right in the temple.
So the thing is,
he could have put my eye out.
He could put your eye out.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. That's a bold move by Sharif there. I think he tried to move off the midday, come on to the main show.
He's trying to take me out.
He tried to take you out.
You know what? That's why I'm. See, now I understand. See, you know what? He was probably at that soccer game, and I didn't even see him behind me.
He's trying to take you out. I think that's probably
unbelievable.
All right, let's go back over to Sharif. I mean, he can defend himself.
Yeah, defend yourself.
I thought proof.
First of all, I was not at that soccer game, Neil. Second of all, I owe you an apology. I gave you the apology. It was friendly fire. I thought Neil was the one who hit me in the head with that elastic band. I didn't see Randy making off into the night as he did there. I tried to get him back later. Unsuccessful. We'll talk about that after. Anyway, SMCI, Super Microcomputer, has been kind of a sell the news event ever since they reported earnings, well off the highs prior to their earnings. Good day today, though, about 6.5% off the highs as well. Here's the look. It's options activity here, really giving us insight. Decided buy call advantage here. 46 calls to the tune of $2.1 million, about 21 puts to the tune of $1.2 million. So decidedly in the call side, guys.
Crazy. Like last week was a day last week. Whenever it was, it doesn't even matter. I just remember Obi was he was talking about some support resistance levels for SMCI. I was like, okay, I was looking at the 500 level. I traded it one day on SMCI. Yeah. There was the SSR bounce, right? And he mentioned one. I just kind of threw the line on my daily chart. So this is the line right here on that daily chart that he pointed out. Now I don't own the stock in my long term, nor was I ever looking to buy it. But yeah, those high 480s, and again, it doesn't have to be exact. Those high 480s ended up being an unbelievable bottom that got made last week. So support and resistance matters. This one, we said that 550 level would be important. It can't seem to decide what it wants to do at that level, although now it seems like we're going down off the 550. And just where does that come from? Okay, when it made that big bounce, when everything made that big bounce last Monday, Monday it was unbelievable, like some of those levels. But the earnings on SMCI was a different story. It was an SSR bounce play for this. It bounced and tried to get through 550, resisted it a ton, and now you're right back underneath it. So it did its attempt to break and fill in some of the gap, and remains to be seen. If we lose the bid here, like if if Nvidia loses 109 and SMCI loses this, it's like 536, that's a long way to go back to these morning bottoms. So I wouldn't want to get caught completely off guard here. I'm not trying to bid off that support on SMCI. I think if it loses it, I mean, I'm looking at Nvidia and probably AMD and Intel to trade because they have better spreads. But yeah, just be careful with SMCI. That was a wild, wild day, the couple of days that it had last week, and it's got a pretty big gap fill if it loses this bid.
All right, yeah, I mean, I hadn't looked at SMCI there since that split, but pretty interesting name. We know the way that can move. We saw Dell get off of conviction buy list as well last week, so that could be, part of the reason why some of this space here, rack space at a premium, so you can see Dell coming back into $90. Wow, this one had quite the move, man. I can't believe where Dell is right now. As this name finding a bid today though as well. So coming back into here, just another name that's similar, had similar trajectory, now all the way back to the downside. I think I'd prefer Dell than SMCI, just because I do have obviously a lot of chip names there. But this name down into 90, I like a lot. $88, $89. I mean, right into this spot right here, all the way back to February. I mean, when you're going grocery shopping, there's a lot of things to buy in the market these days, especially if there's tech names. I think Dell, looking at this chart and what I know about the company anyways, which maybe has to be a little bit more, I think this looks pretty darn good here for Dell. And then just quickly, we talked about getting stopped out at 75% of that position on the TQs for, where were we short at 03s? We got short out at 12s there, but now we're back in it. We're trying to get this short again. I'm bidding 81s down here to see if we can break this level. This was where we started to get short, was right in and around here, as you guys can see. But then we did get stopped out as we averaged back in, but then we took another piece. So,
Before we go back.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's go.
I forgot to mention one thing about the SMCI, because we've been talking about earnings and post-market earnings, and in the midday show today was like learning about trading earnings moves. SMCI's earnings move was the widowmaker.
Okay.
Because somebody took short, it went short right before, like 20, 30 minutes before, maybe 15 minutes before the numbers were even out. And that's this move in here. Like, it's going after market from 620 all the way down to 590. When the numbers came out, it broke out the top and went to $730. It's bottom to top, a $140 move. So it rinsed people that were stuck short early because they probably fat-fingered. It then rinsed anybody that went long anywhere adjacent to the top, because the next morning you were gapped down at $530. So like, almost, unless you basically somehow if you didn't take the first break down when it broke the low, because that would trigger, then somehow managed to take the break long when everyone was waiting a half an hour for the earnings, then got out on resistance and didn't hold anything overnight, then you won. Pretty much every other trade you got destroyed. Because there's no chance you were short this thing and were like, oh, I'm gonna hold a 600 short to $730 and then bank the next day when it goes 1-to-1. So I think this was like the prime example of how dangerous it can get with these earnings type play. And this is why I think a lot of people in the chat, when they play earnings, you hear Danielle Shea talk about it. They play it in options where you can define your risk a lot more closely. There was almost no way you were defining your risk on SMCI that afternoon. I felt compelled to mention it because we were talking about earnings this morning and then also on the midday. And Adair and I were watching that one live. And when we came in the next morning to see it gap down after that move up of $140, you knew that there was some pain to be had. We never want to see people take that kind of a hit.
Oh, hi, Dara. That's all good. All right, guys, the SPY is next, and we have PPI tomorrow. We have CPI on Wednesday, so the market really holding its breath until we get those numbers. Separately, though, gold up 1.5%, and oil 3.5% in the clear right now. We also have Middle Eastern tensions possibly posing some sort of market threat here. We're waiting to hear more on that, guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was a headline. There was a headline about, essentially suspecting an imminent over the next 24 hours attack in Israel and Iran. And it's just, whether it happens or it doesn't, there was a big spike in oil. That's part of what made the futures roll over. And you can definitely see the moment that this happened. There was a retracement all the way back, but when it hit, and the bet was like, right in here. When it hit, it was rapid fire. Everything was selling. You came right back to retest the level at 535, particularly on the SPY, and it's been trend down ever since. And so it's hard not to look for shorts. The only short, when I have Intel from this morning, and then the only thing I added was Starbucks, because Starbucks reversed what looked like a huge breakout this morning, lost the 77 level. I'm actually going to, this level in here on Starbucks, 76.80 resistance. I'm going to look to add to this and trail it to 76.80. So I'm kind of thinking the market's pulling back. Energy, again, had a good moment this morning, Randy, on XOM, which Sean was trading. Every time you come, we always mention that XOM has been fantastic. It's been doing really well. They've actually been doing really well compared to, if you look at their chart plus like adjacent to like Chevron, they're outpacing Chevron.
Earnings report wasn't so exciting.
I mean, they make a lot of money.
Make a hell of a lot of money. we like the money.
A little bit.
Thank you for the coffee.
Little bit.
There, Randy. Yeah, smell you later as well. I noticed that as well.
You've been saying that a lot lately.
Is that what he says now?
Yeah.
All right. So just okay. So I just want to explain here, because we're talking about SPY. I mean, the same difference. Let's talk about the market, different market, same kind of thing. This is going to be the NASDAQ. So people are probably like, why is this madman? Hey, it's me. Why are we shorting this? So, you know, I wonder if there's a bigger move coming. And if there's not, there's not. We can get stopped out, which we may be getting stopped out. But we're right in this area right now where I feel like we've been bouncing in and around here. I'm just looking at a daily chart. This is a 1 minute chart, slides into Friday. But this level, right where we are right now, this 59.20, I mean, we had some problems here. It didn't do much, though, and I completely understand that. You know, we didn't really fade out too much at all on Friday. There was a little bit of a dip down into 58.60 here. But, you know, I mean, again, we are above VWAP, above the 50, above everything here, and still fell down. Now I just wonder if we just got a fill there, which was pretty good, actually. I'm just wondering if this move does mean downside now. So let's just wait to see. We did get a little stop out there. We talked about that. We got back in. We just got reloaded again. And I kind of just want to wait against this 20 level. If we break this 25 is where I was going to give it to, and that's probably it. I don't know if I want to give it to VWAP. I mean, because the play, like I said, is sort of just hoping. You never want to hope anything. But, well, you want to hope a lot of stuff, but not in trading. I mean, I just think that let's just see if we hold this. If not, and we're right, and the market collapses, then I'm not going to get a better chance to do this, because when we break through here at 58.85, I always kind of want to be short already. We can add to this position. I just think this is a low risk environment right now to look short. So that's what I'm doing. I'm looking short now. I think it's low risk. We have a couple outs that are ready to go here. So we're in the money now, or flat now actually. We just got to fill there at O's. We'll see if it will fall back in. I mean, 90s would be great. But after that, let's just try to go 1-to-1. Short 05, getting out 25, that's 15 cents. We're looking for 90s, right? So it's a pretty simple trade for me. And it's the futures, and it's the Qs, not the SPY. So I don't know, but I do like oil. We had a great trade on XOM. We could talk about that in a minute. But it's Serv and volley. Back to you there, Sharif.
What?
I guess we'll do Apple first, then we'll go to Serv, guys. I have Apple set up over here. About 0.5%, 0.43 right now is Apple. No real headline today for Apple, but we continue to see a bit of a recovery after the Monday we all got last week, which was Warren Buffett sold. Berkshire Hathaway sold over about half of their Apple position, going into mostly cash, about 270 some odd billion dollars right now. Berkshire Hathaway holding in cash, really coming off those highs, guys. We broke through that 213 area of technical resistance last week, still though below that key area of technical resistance above us.
Yeah, Apple has been, I mean, relatively speaking, Apple has been very, okay, maybe not very strong. It's been strong, up 0.5% into a flat market. The ES slightly down, the NASDAQ slightly up. But the more important thing is holding on to Friday's close, right? Like Friday, it made the break of that 214 area on Friday, which was resistance all week. Once it broke out late in the day, it was trend up into 216, and it manages to hold on to that. So it was 215.99 where it closed. That's where you get this 216 from here on Apple. If we get down there, I think that's the afternoon buy zone. It was a VWAP buy, then it wasn't. It tried to hold 217, and now 217 is actually resistance. Like the last couple times it's gotten to this 217, morning breakout, midday support, let's call it, it's been a sell off of this level. So until we get back about 217 or test 216, I don't really see much of anything for Apple. I preferred this one to the long side, obviously, for most of the day because it's been relatively strong. But if we lose 216, If we lose this offer at 217, I think you just got to wait for that 16 test. Previous close, it would be going green to red at that point. So let's be patient with it. It's only 220. You have a long time to come in. And just like Nvidia 109, if Apple loses 216, this market is in a world of hurt.
Yeah, and Jalen Hurts as well. All right, so
He's actually not bad.
yeah, he's good. He's I mean,
He's no Justin.
will that tush push be the same without Father Kelsey hanging around? We'll see.
It will not.
I don't think it will either, but we'll see. I mean, it's pretty good move there. I mean, Hurts' quads there. I mean, that guy was
He's a big boy.
pushing. Yeah, I don't know
He's
what
a
he
big
was doing
boy.
there, squatting like tons there. Okay, so quickly, Apple, right? So I wrote down Apple 215. I really like that trade. Never got down there, or did it? No, it did not. So again, a name that's pretty strong here. We'll continue to like Apple and see where we do with this stock, but the market's starting to get back up to the upside now. I felt like Apple would lead the way today. It was doing that early, but then just faded right off 220. It looks like 220 is going to be something here on the daily. We stopped there. We kind of stopped last week at that level. Obviously, we got to 225, but then there's that huge move, and it's on its way back up. So I think we'll go long Apple, but I'll be much more confident once we're above that 220. I think that could happen tomorrow as well. But as the market goes, there it is, man. We'll hit the fail right there on that last little try for the TQs. Tried to get that to go back down. We thought it was well within the risk parameters there, and I still do. So out of the TQQs there. Yeah, I thought the short could have been played, but doesn't look like it wants to. And now it's starting to go. I think now if we do like the short, we're going to have to wait for a little bit more, man, at least into the 50s. I don't want to just keep going back and forth into these kind of names. We are short Shopify, which you can see is definitely working. Shopify, my biggest stock today. But that's to the short side. So, all right. So that's it for Apple. I think 220, I think, is a good call there. Let's wait for it, or 215. But with this market being flat right now, I don't have a super great play.
There's nothing wrong with waiting for it.
No, there's never anything wrong with waiting, but I don't know.
It's
if
like
the market collapse is going to be quick.
I know a lot of people like to there's always people like to gamble or play cards or maybe play fantasy football. If you're it's like make an analogy. Like say you're in fantasy football and you're trying to get a quarterback. You've needed a quarterback really badly.
Sell
a lot
assets.
of times, you try to be patient, wait for it to come to you. Like maybe somebody who has 2 or 3 of the good ones, they're going to make you a good offer. So you wait in the cut. Don't get desperate. Let them know that you're interested in the QB. And then maybe someone offers you a ridiculously, egregiously good offer that just pops into your inbox. And then you're ready to just pounce on it.
But then you still say no somehow.
Or like the idiot in our pool, you could have Sean come from vacation, be completely jet lagged.
Right. And
offer this guy a trade. I'm punking this dude in our pool. Offer this dude a trade that everyone blows up like, oh my God, he's going to instantly accept that. Sean's out of his mind. Or he's just being too nice of a guy, in my opinion. And the guy turns it down, and we're just destroying him. But that's what it's about. If a stock comes to a good price, you pounce on it.
You should.
And if you sleep on a good price or a good deal or a good trade, you get punished and you get roasted on YouTube.
Fall down. Oh, no. Yeah, we'll have to send him the clip.
That's exactly why I just did this.
Good, okay.
Because we're sending this to him. Because that's how our fantasy football league rule. It's a bunch of guys from high school together. We like to talk a lot of trash.
I mean, look, I just try to make a fair offer, and clearly it was fair. Right?
Fair.
I don't know.
We have a thing in our pool.
I'm also trying to trade.
We have a thing in our pool called Spirit of the League.
Oh, you think that would have got denied?
And it was such an offer in the other guy's favor, in my opinion, that I was ready to invoke Spirit of the League, saying you were giving him too much.
Right.
Because that's how nice you were being. And the guy rejected it because he's a fool. But let's go back and talk. We're going to talk Serv. We still have one more on the rundown. My bad.
Oh, we do?
We skipped Serv.
This is a big down move, Neil. It was 17% at the lows, now recovering here, about 16 a fifth. No real headline on this one, guys, at all. And I looked back into last week, nothing, all technical notifications. But this one does report tomorrow, so possibly here, some repositioning by some big money or some by investors. We'll have to wait and see. But a 24 million share float on SERV. Wasn't able to locate the short float.
It doesn't, on trade ideas, I'm not seeing a short float either. But the first thing that stood out to me is
I'll get it.
Every now and then the lines on the chart are just ridiculously. I mean, this is obviously a bit flukish.
20% on Benzinga.
So 20% short float on Benzinga. That's a pretty decent number, and it already gave a huge reversal, which is this that you guys are all sort of staring at right now. Like that's a wild move back in. So context, it was already on the downside or the backside of the trade. And let's go to a 15-minute. You had those crazy bottoms on Monday. How many stocks are retracing back into those lows? Serv at 10. Serv bounced exactly at $10. So if it gets to 10, I think that would be an interesting one to look at. I mean, I haven't traded it today, but if it got down here, that looks spicy if it could bounce off a $10 level with that kind of a short float. And it's SSR, so that could be a bit of an opportunity there on Serv. We'll see. But I doubt I'd trade it unless you break down to that 10 level, and the volume certainly tapering off as well.
All right, we've been minutes away from. Yeah, I've been served. I'm not doing that anymore. Yeah, I love oil right now. We talked about XLE and how much we like XLE in our long-term portfolio. But look what just happened to me on TQs again. I mean, this time we only got stopped. Well, actually, both times we got stopped out was only 75% of them. So we got stopped out there and then bought that bottom and basically had it to the top. Gave up a couple pennies there. And then right now it just happened again to us where we got stopped out right there, 75%, but then got back in before it only to fall right where, like, you know, this trading, right? I mean, this is what happens when you put on risk and you try to take it. You got to take it out when it hits. So either just got to adjust the levels a bit, or this just happens to you. Sometimes you get stopped out, and then you're right after that. So trying to hold a little bit more, especially when we're trading the future. Sometimes on stock, you don't necessarily want to hold everything to try to prove yourself that you're right or wrong. Sometimes it's best just to get in and get out as fast as possible. But right now for the market, I don't want to give up on the theory that maybe this market turns red and actually stays down there.
Well, the ES is red.
The ES, yeah, okay. Well, the ES right now, how much red is it?
I mean,
yeah, 0.07 versus 0.4, yeah, 0.04.
But the trend has been down since like what, like 11 o'clock, is it? What time
AMD's still
is
down
that?
2%. I mean, I'm just looking at different stocks. I think the trend has been pretty flat.
I'm just talking about since here. Look, the trend, obviously it's flat day. But since the morning at about 11 o'clock, right in here, we've been putting in lower highs going into a flat bottom, which also happens to be on Friday, essentially where we close. This is where like I'm leaning. Like, just if we lose this, I just want to be like, that would be pretty bearish, losing the previous week close, lower highs into a flat bottom break. Whether it's Nvidia at $109 breaking, that would look spicy. Starbucks, I'm on the offer trying to get Starbucks back into this 76.80 level if we can. And Tesla, Tesla made that break of resistance. Well, here's a thing that's not up on the day, but look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4 times it tried to break out at about 198.33. Now it's consolidating above that. So this looks pretty good for a hold the line, consolidation, break out the top, and suddenly Tesla actually looks bullish in my estimation. So I do like this one. Took a long time for it to break. I mean, if it had done it in the morning, like right in here, it looked like it would just be a pop and go. But instead, it held resistance. Now you're consolidative. So I think be patient. A local high break here, maybe a dip into 198, both look good. CompuCare team, do you use the EMA or the SMA? I use the simple moving average on all my charts. My daily chart will always be a simple. When I have the trade ideas up there on the daily and the weekly, I use simple moving averages. I know that's it's just a preference thing. I mean, some use one, some use the other. Letting you guys know, I use simple moving averages, if you're wondering.
Yeah, same. I use simple moving averages as well. It's pretty simple. I mean, I'm just trying to keep it as simple as possible. But you can use them again if you're using maybe more longer time frames. Then an EMA might be so much different. But especially for a 1-minute chart, it doesn't really matter.
They're not a big deal.
Just sort of back testing whatever you're more comfortable with, right? I mean, all of us will use slightly different techniques and different charts for that. For those plays. All right, just real quickly here. So we just took out some more on Shopify there. We were long Shopify early and just, we have the ability to just flip it up over here. You don't have to be married to one way or the other. And we were long early until it broke 69. We actually talked about that level right there. We were long, and it was like one of my top stocks. Then we broke 69 and then we started to short it. Got a little hairy there, went up to 69.14, but look at this move back down, 68.30s. Like these were, this play alone was worth a little bit. So that was real good to pull back in. And then another short right there at the high again at 69. And then just another cover at 69.30. So far so good here without any regrets whatsoever for shorting Shopify. So that was a really, really good play back in there for us. So make sure you do hit the like and the subscribe every single day, and especially now before you forget. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and make sure that you're notified every time we're live.
Yes, sir.
Including all of our shows, which we had the midday show as an education show, and trading show with Sharif and Adair. And then we also have the recap show today With Michael Noss, we'll talk about, I don't know if there is any big earnings tonight. We'll have to look at the earnings board. I have not looked yet today. Maybe
it depends on your definition of big. There's always, during earnings season, there's always like a little something, but.
Couple billion.
Well, I mean, if you're into, it's Rumble.
No, not into it. August 12th.
Rumble's reporting. There's a couple, I mean.
Close. Sun Life, yeah.
No,
it's pretty small. Yeah, there's nothing really there. Blech. All right, we'll find some more. Yeah, Rumble's there. Here, I can pull this
I had a couple of teammates in university that both worked for Sun Life. That's about the only thing that is interesting to me about them. But
okay, so not much.
The big Adrian work.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm down with some Rumble. I mean, no doubt about that.
Well, Rumble's got a short flow.
All right, here it is, right here. China, Abacus Life. All right, so just looking here, 1 billion, 1 point. So here's Rumble right here. Expected move 13%. So that should be a good one. Right above that, Fortree Holdings, 16% as well. Never heard of that one. Monday.com is 12 billion, so that could move. That's 13%. Oh, that's before market opens. So sorry.
Well, I guess if you're going to get Monday.com, you should report Monday morning.
That's actually really clever by them. Actually, I really like that. There it is, right there, 21%. So they did deliver. Outbeat that. But yeah, tonight not much, man. Rumble tonight. So we'll see what happens. And then tomorrow, probably even bigger ones coming through, of course.
Retail
August 13th, is it right there? Home Depot tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow morning, so before we start trading again, we will have comments on Home Depot by tomorrow. New Holdings is a good one there. That was supposed to be the SoFi of South America.
You don't want to be the SoFi of anything right now.
Yeah, we talked about
have you looked at SoFi since you came back?
No, I'd rather just not.
Yeah.
All right, and then after that, man, Franco-Nevada. All right, pretty low. We're getting through all those seasons now, and we just wait now to see, I guess, what's going to happen. The September rate cut, and better not be rate hike, of course. As
they're not hiking.
Wait to see what happens right there.
You know what they are hiking?
Here come the TQs.
The offer of Uber.
Oh,
Uber's at the high of the day. That's my way of saying.
Talked about we liked Uber, man.
I'm looking around, like as the market is testing 18.6.
Bring it down.
My question is, what is actually strong? Uber is just chilling out at the high. So if we do make some kind of exaggerated bounce, I want to know where do we like strength. Uber would be, if this gets to 69.5 on the daily, like it's kind of crazy that it's even here in this regard. But this is trying to break out the top while the market's going lower. I just want to put that on the old back burner in case the market does not crap all over itself and there is a long. That would be one name that I do kind of like here. I just reloaded on Shopify. No, you said Shop. You were in Shopify. You just said Shopify. That's why. Okay. Starbucks. I'm not in Shopify. Starbucks. S-Bucks. It's actually up 2%, but this you guys can see. There is the fail break at 78, and then it just kind of stair-step down the entire way. So I'm looking out for what is strong here in case we hold this 18.6. And after coming up with Uber, you can make the argument, of course, I think with Nvidia as well. That 109, which you're not getting 109s at this point, so you have to be very patient if you're looking for, like you'd say, yeah, it's strong, it's above VWAP, it's up 5%, but I don't know where the trade's going to be outside of this VWAP and the 109 level on Nvidia, or if it can just break out the top, that's always a good one. So just got to be very, very patient I think, and just try to stack up a list of things that we do like. So add Uber to the list, and I don't know what Tesla's trying to do here. It was looking like a breakout, and now it doesn't at all. So it was looking like it wanted to break back out this local high, ended up failing back into 198. Suddenly it looks a little heavy back into the 198. I want to see this one bounce. It's higher lows since the morning. And I was asked, what indicators, someone said in the chat, what indicators do you use in the chart? Volume, VWAP, and on higher time frame, I'll use moving averages, but not on my 3-minute. But I like to observe anytime you can find a trend line that makes logical sense and a stock is fulfilling it, then I just want to try to use that. So I did that with AMD today, but Tesla's starting to look good off this trend since about 11 o'clock, looking strong. Still needs to take out that top, though, 190. Let me just call it 199.
All right. Don't call it a comeback, though, for the TQs. It just went to the downside there, and we were able to cover a little bit as it came right into that level one more time. Getting a little bit exhausted here, just trying to wait for these things to happen. I don't know if the market's going to do anything today, so I think we should almost switch off of the futures, just sort of turn our brain off. If it starts to go back down, fine. We do have a stop side higher if it breaks sort of that high right there, 20. I thought we were always getting out at 25s. I don't know why we got out at 23 there, so I wonder if it sort of maybe broke and then didn't, but at the end of the day, I mean, that's 20. Our fill is 23.5. I don't see it breaking 25. So at the end of the day, a little bit of a bad fill there, but that's okay. We did get back in. We only got punched at a 75%, so we did get back in. So let's see if it wants to flip over. And then we'll just use 30 as our outs, right? I mean, VWAP's up here. We can almost use this level right now, 36, 37. We got some out, so the risk is coming out a little bit now on this trade. So we'll wait. Now I'm going to wait to see if we get an 80 fill, and it's just playing the game, man. That's really all that it is. The Robinhood trade has been a good one, other than this one trade that we had on Robinhood where we did get stopped out. And again, it wasn't super early at all. We played that 50 break, and we really liked it. And our best trade out there was 55, 56. It didn't really go. Then we realized that it wasn't going, and we started to get more out right here. So this is kind of like a flat trade. The best part was we were able to buy the dip early on Hood. It fell right into VWAP, so we like VWAP trades off open, especially on names that we like. So that happened, boom, that gave us winning trades. So we were winning on this. Then all of a sudden we tried the VWAP dip again on Robinhood. That didn't work that time. So that came to 34. Then we tried it again down here into the pre-market low. Eventually we used that very low as our out, which at that time happened to be 15s. So we got out there, it held. Then we went long, and then boom goes the dynamite back up there to the upside, and we're still holding a small piece. I was out for lunch all during lunch, and we missed this buy zone here again. So I think if it comes back in for Robinhood, that's a buy zone. I see a lot of you saying that. I wrote down on the sticky note, and I did, that I liked 50s, so 1850, which I do like, but not right now. It's just there's been nothing happening. I mean, this is where 50 is, right here. So it's kind of like doing nothing. I'd rather buy 30s or 40s, so we'll have to be patient as possible for that trade to potentially come through. So
you know what I couldn't believe?
Shopify is the one for me.
It's a little random. Well, first, Tesla hit that trend. Hit that trend right now, line that I was just talking about, and bounced off 198. I don't even know where I got trend from.
Line?
I have no idea where that came from, but I had two things in my head, and I'll finish this thought. If we get to that high at 199, I want to scalp into it and take a break of 199 long. So I think 198 to 198 half to 199, then look breakout at 199. But what I was about to say is I couldn't believe how like grown up Gia has gotten when she was sitting in the chair.
She's a beast.
Sitting in your chair. It's like it's one of the cooler things. I mean, obviously, anybody that has kids knows this. It's one of the cooler things just to see like not just them growing physically, but like the maturity and the personality that
she was out there dancing with Randy outside and everything.
it's cool to see. And if you didn't check it out, you can always like rewind till sometime in the midday show. I do believe when Gia came by. But let's see what happens with these markets. I kind of thought we were breaking down, and then we tried to find some things that are holding some upward trends. Uber just tested the high of the day, not really going or flying. I'm contemplating whether I want to. I'm thinking I'd want to reverse this. So if 198 holds, great. If this trend line breaks, I'm feeling bearish enough that I think I'd want to reverse into VWAP on Tesla. So I'm going to keep my mind open for that. Starbucks was the only thing that we shorted. I should have gone back over and shorted Intel because I got wicked out of Intel. And of course, every single time last week, with the exception of Thursday, it was Thursday. Yeah, Thursday was like a rip your face off rally for Intel. I guess the sellers that got tired of selling, whatever it was just an unbelievable up day for Intel. But every other day of the week was a sell day. This is no different. I think it really just wants to get back down to $19. And we should all be obliging stocks when they want to go somewhere by joining the trend if we can. So Tesla's the only thing I'm new into, although we did reload some of that Shopify, Starbucks, and still looking for something to happen on Nvidia and this 109 level. It's just kind of chilling out here at 110. It's got to be patient. I think on any market dump and retest to the low, Nvidia 109 is going to come into play one way or another.
I'm trying to get out of some Solana here today again. Bitcoin did break through 60 and then came right back. So right now you got 59 and change. Solana's at 144. I mean, we talked about it live on the show, and I get filled at 190 a couple weeks ago on Solana. So that was a great fill. I wish we would have got out of the mall. We just talked about unstaking some of those. All right, so Bitcoin right here, 7 days, man, up 10%. We talked about that. It did $20,000 in 7 days. It went from 70 down to 49. And that was the bottom of that. But some people talking about Ripple as well with an aggressive move, and that's true. 17% over the week. Cardano just chilling out at 33 cents now. I don't know. Some of these other names, man, Shiba Inu. Just looking at today, the last 24 hours, there's not much green at all in Cryptoville, Bitcoin Cash. But other than that, I'm not going to scroll down too much to see all these garbage coins. 2.4% down on Solana, 2% down on Bitcoin, 1% up on Ethereum. Yeah, Dogecoin's up. Yeah, Dogecoin's number 10 now. I mean, that's big. There's some of these market caps for coins that have zero utility are amazing. There's Dogecoin right there. Just a small market cap of 15 billion.
You want to see?
Is that right?
We've talked about this on crypto specifically, and here at Real Trading, we have you can trade ETH, you can trade Bitcoin, you can trade Solana, Doge, and I missed one last week. Apologies, I did the same thing, and then I think I missed the fifth one that we had. But anyways, Doge. These candles happen rather frequently on all crypto names, where you'll get like some kind of a market event or whatever, just whatever event you want to call it, and you'll have a dump. It'll go into a support level, and then the V-shaped recovery just comes in. So if you're like, let's just say you're trading Doge or whatnot, we like support and resistance. If you're into support and resistance and you see a move like this start to accelerate, the second it bounces off a wick like that, there's your first green candle. You could have been long 10.3 to 10.15. It doesn't even slow down. Like the first major pullback happens up here at like 10.75, which really, that's like a good 4-to-1 style trade if you like it. So there's something to be had everywhere. Potential flat bottom break as well here on Doge, but it's up to you. Like there's so many opportunities out there, whether you're equity trading, futures markets, Forex, if you're into that, that's all here at Real Trading. Doge is going back to our opportunities. Tesla, it looked like it was going. Bounced off 198, got to 198.5. Now we're right back retesting the 198 level. So rinse and repeat it. See if we can't catch the bid again. Look, the range here, since we came on, Tesla has a 198 bottom and like a 198.75 top. So that's pretty much it. And it's just been going back and forth and back and forth. And as long as it does that, good to go. Still looking for something. I'm going to get on this offer, as I said, of Intel. We got out at 1935. I'm going to get back on the offer out in front of 1935. Just give it a little bit more room next time. Just checking out the chat here. Nvidia double top. Indo just hit 489. Wow. That was Sharif stock all afternoon. I'm assuming he traded this one because I kept hearing Indo and then Indo jokes all afternoon. 420 jokes, which I guess write themselves with INDO. I guess with the tensions that are going on in the Middle East and oil being strong, that's when INDO squeezes. It's got a decent short float, so you like it. Anytime energy is strong, look for this to squeeze. I'm just going to point this out. Look at this. I like trend lines. Hello, I'm Neil. I like trend lines. It's got this series of higher lows and lower highs, this wedge, which would make me fear any kind of a failed break of $5 here today. Like it's just been respecting the top of this trend line. And when this one decides it's done, a lot of times you get that reasonable pullback before the next move. Reasonable pullback before the next move. Just be cautious with a $5 break here if you're in INDO. Not that you could have had many losing longs on this one today.
No, I mean, that's a good point about, trading the stocks that are going to be hit by something politically or economically.
Oh, you should see the Lockheed Martin chart.
Oh, yeah, I saw. I didn't know it was spiked up like crazy, didn't it?
It was a huge.
Not today, though.
No, it was not today.
I saw.
It's like the daily or the weekly. Yeah, it gets earnings. It's like. Anyway.
Yeah.
Here, I'll just show it and we'll go.
Yeah.
This is Lockheed Martin breaking out on earnings. And you can say whatever you want about profiting over certain things and certain events, but it kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah, I mean, profiting on.
You just got to do what you got to do.
Their business, yeah.
That's what they do,
You're
right?
allowed to run a business. Okay, so just quickly here, Shopify. So I have a stop. Not finally. I mean, we've taken some bids here, but I'm going to wait this 50 period. I mean, if the market reverses back up, the market's been doing nothing now. I mean, this little tick is an hour ago, so we just went down about 30 or 40 handles and kind of back up, and now we're just hovering into here. So we're kind of done nothing for the last hour.
That's my chart.
Yeah, it's still Neil's chart here. That's all good. It's all good. So kind of doing nothing here for the last hour is what I was trying to get at here with the market. So dipped down a little bit into some support, which we tried to short, didn't work. Now the pop up and we're waiting. So just for Shopify, same type of thing. This is actually moving the way we need it to move. It's just the market's not. So now we have to regroup a little bit. If it breaks higher through this 40 area, then I'm going to get out of a third of what we have left. So good short, good reload. By far my number one stock. We've made significantly more. So it'll be the worst stock here today. And we've made about 30 or 40% more on Shopify than we have lost on Robinhood. Okay, so it's good. It's going to be a really good day today here for sure, as we'll come back after a week off and just be right where we left off. So everything is all good now. All right, well, it was always all good. You know, we got hit early on Hood, then we made all that money back on Hood and on Amazon, turned both of those green, not Hood. XOM was a monster. We can show you that in a minute. We just got some more TQs. I actually had to put this order out about 35s now. I don't even have a stop out in case this market does rip. I mean, 35 might not even be right. I mean, I hate getting stopped out right at the exact penny, but that's VWAP, and I got to trust it. So VWAP is at 35. So let's maybe give it to 40s or something here on the TQ. If it does want to get groovy, then that's fine. Shopify.
There's news on J&J.
Is there news on what?
On J&J.
Okay. Yeah, this thing in my ear. Did you hear that?
I could barely hear it. There's
there's
some excitement on the trading floor behind us, but I'm just seeing it here. It looks like they secured plaintiff support for $6.5 billion baby powder settlement accord. So it looks like there's an agreement. Well, I mean, support for $6.5 billion baby powder accord. So like anytime you have certainty, obviously this has been lingering and looming for J&J. That's the volume spike. It just went like $2 to the upside and trying to hold on. I always like previous highs and VWAP. So previous high 160.25, it just bounced off that. So if it's going to be a continuation here, would like to see it calm down. Now, while it's figuring itself out, will it hold a previous high? That would give you a trade. Got to be on what moves, and this just had the volume. So let's see if it can hold on to the previous high, 160.25, as this tries to calm back down. And I see a few people talking about this GNLN. We'll get to that in a second. I haven't really looked at that one all day either. So some things moving around here, including J&J.
All right, we just we'll take 10 cents there on the TQs, but I don't know if that's going to do anything right now. We'll wait. I'm still waiting for O's, see if we can get really something here. But like I said, just in the fact that, there we go. We get the O3. So we'll hit the sirens. Maybe the market's finally going to start to go back down, and we can see if some of this trading will turn out for us here. As to me, this is what I want to do, right? I mean, we talked about trying to let these things go downside. We are still in the 80s right there. We just, again, got another reload. So we want to be able to hold this all the way down, but we don't want to be like all godly with this market. I mean, I don't know where this is going. So let's not try to outsmart it. Let's just get out when it falls in. So now we're going to wait for 80s and let's try to be right on this one. So that's going to be that trade. This is my XOM trade that we did earlier. It was a great one. We bought this little dip. We actually bought it again. And then eventually, like I said, we left and let just stop in there and got stopped out once it broke below. So we were buying right here 50s. That's now at 40. So a very top stock for me today. Our number one's going to be Shopify. This is actually number 2. And it was just this one trade. We took it right when we were with you guys at 10:45. It fell back in. Great level there at 118.50. Now it looks like it wants to hold it again, 118.50. Obviously a little bit of risk associated with this name as we keep talking about Middle East and whatnot with oil. But, you know, XOM, their dividend's so solid, man. They've been raising dividends for 45 straight years. It's over 3%. If you're chasing a little bit of yield, I don't think you can go wrong with this name. So we'll continue to watch out for that. Robinhood still 50 cents in the money. I don't really have too many of a trade there. I'd love to go over to my friend and hopefully yours as well, Palantir. But I mean, come on, man. Come on,
that was
Alex.
disappointing
Come on, Alex.
today.
Do something. Yeah, nice move up to 31.20. Obviously early, up probably 1% or so, and then just gave it all back. I mean, gave it all back, and now is doing nothing.
That 30 level was so...
It's so hard to take blood from a stone here.
Yeah, like, I mean, that 30 level was so big of a break in a level last week. You just had to feel like when it closed above, it closed at and then, you know, was breaking out above, it was going to be a good one. This GNLN that everyone in the chat is talking about, Day Trader Cut, Jasmine Patel as well, and a few others mentioning. So it looks like they're, plans to distribute high sensitivity test strips. And this is for the opiate crisis. So it's They're like a cannabis accessories company, but anything, I mean, that's good news. Anything is treating the opioid crisis, I guess, would be good. I see the float over here is 65. It's not that small, like 65 million. I mean, it's not that huge float, but it's not tiny. Doesn't have a huge short float either, but breaking out, halted at 1353 on that news. Currently indicating it would open at 1320, which is a little bit down. But given that this just broke out from $10, maybe there's some profit takers in here on GNLN. And when I threw the daily chart up, this is kind of what it looked like. Yeah, this is breaking a lot of things out on the daily chart, go all the way back to mid-2023, and it's trying to fill in a gap to this bottom would be about $14.50. So I guess that would be a level like $15, let's call it. So it should open up in a few minutes, and we'll see where it goes from there. So shout out to GNLN. Pretty Panda says, you've been in and out 20 times, and then jumps $3 when you're out. You can't, you know what? You can't be angry. If you were trend trading this or scalp trading it off the morning, they reported this morning, and you were like buying dips and scalping inside of this range, it's like a $2 range it had for most of the day. And then all of a sudden, when you take profit, it does that on a news story. You can't know what's going to happen. You can always try to hold on to some, put a trailing stop. But if you were long this and made money, don't hate on yourself. Think of it the other way. Like, what would happen? Like, you took profit and then it goes up. What would happen if it was against you and you didn't have a take profit or you didn't have a stop order? It's always better to make money or take profit or protect profit than to just sit there and just go willy-nilly. I'm not going to have an order or a stop order. So good luck on that GNLN if you happen to be trading it. Don't know if I'm going to be chasing. So Tesla just still holding 198 to 198.5. Nothing really changing here. It's in the same range it was when I left you like 5-10 minutes ago in Tesla. It's not breaking 98s, but it's not breaking back out to the 199 where we'd like a breakout. Let's go over to Adara at the desk.
This part of the show is brought to you by Benzinga Pro. If you feel lost in the noise of the market, then you need Benzinga Pro. Benzinga Pro cuts through the clutter and gives you the insights you need to make smarter, faster trades. From real-time news to unusual options activity, we'll show you exactly what's moving the market and why. Don't miss out on your chance to trade like a pro. Visit benzinga.com/pro to start your free trial today.
Thank you very much. And as we just had that news on J&J, so I've got a question for the old Magic 8 Ball. Thank you to Mr. Westermeyer, one of our longtime viewers here who sent a customized Magic 8 Ball for us. So I want to know, because we just keep testing his 18.6 on the NASDAQ, is the NASDAQ closing above or below 18.60? I'm going to shake it up. And then the etiquette is to put it down, and I'll let Sean read it because I shook it. You can let us know. Are we closing above or below 18? Are we closing above 18.6?
Danielle Shea says yes.
So according to Danielle Shea, the market's going up. Well, I still kind of like short.
Yeah,
the market's apparently going to go up.
According to Danielle Shea, but of course.
Yeah, according to Danielle Shea, it's customizable. So of course, personalities that we have, friends of the show, are always going to be in there. We'll see if it does that. I was kind of thinking,
could be. I mean,
it could. We're bouncing a little bit, but it's a tight range. Tight range, everybody.
Very, very tight range. We are remembering about Shopify right here. If this goes back, I mean, now it's come back in. I still have it at 45. If we break 45, we'll get out of another third of the stock as it comes right back in as well right now. People in the chat want to say below, but yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, you're really, either guess right now. I think it's even money.
It's 0 for 3. It was 0 for 3 last week.
0 for 3 last week. Okay, so I was going to say even money right now on that. Higher or lower right now, 30 handle should happen. We do have the imbalances coming at 350, but that's not, again, without many earnings, I'm not really seeing too much here today. So we'll be positive trading here today. What we've been doing, it's just looking for more opportunities. Hopefully Apple will fall back in here. Shopify will fall back in. And I was just looking at Apple, as someone in the chat just mentioned that that's not falling back in, and maybe these futures will take a little dip. We did not average in this time into the futures. We'd have to get a little bit closer to where we need to be before we just average in all the way up, because if this 8 ball is potentially wrong, and we do not break down below, then the short will be in trouble. So we'll hold on to that one and see if that one does want to work. I mean, a stock that we looked at earlier that was on our rundown this morning was Disney. Make sure you hit the like and the subscribe, by the way. I mean, I think something we could all do more. Disney down again at 0.5%. I have already said my piece on this stock. I feel like it's just not worth really doing anything right now. There's so many better opportunities, I think, to buy. It is a dismal stock right now. I think breaking back down below 88. I mean, we've looked at some of these levels here. I'm not feeling it as much as we were before. You know, we had Nelson Peltz, we had some of the reopen, we had talking about like big box office coming through, but that's already happened now. With Inside Out 2, created some records there, and Despicable Me, I think, was pretty good. And then they have Deadpool. Do they have Deadpool as Disney Deadpool?
Yeah.
Marvel, yeah. So anyways, as you come through, I don't know, still not creating that sort of oomph to the stock. And then now you have billions and billions being dropped on their theme park, which I don't really want to be invested in a theme park business. I know you are when you're invested in Disney, but I was hoping they finally got their turn positive there on the streaming side, and that didn't really affect the stock. So to me, that's disappointing. I thought their earnings would have been a little bit better than that.
Yeah, that's surprising.
So
it's like, so they got punished all that time because they weren't making money on streaming, and like the core parts of the business were doing well, and they were getting no credit for that. Then when they finally turned profit on the streaming, it gets punished for it. So it just says to me they're getting punished for it. I said last week that I was like, someone asked me if I was going to get back into Disney shares, and I was like, oh, if it can hold this 89, it was like 89 or something for the week, it's going to look pretty good on a weekly if it can hold on to it. So suffice to say, yeah, exactly. Not happening when you're at 85. So it didn't do what I was hoping would happen on a higher time frame, which was hold above this. I wanted to close the week above there, and then you would have had a liquidity grab under, but instead it just continues to trend. The good thing about any long-term account buying is you can get in as it's strong. You don't have to just sit there catching a falling knife, and that's the beauty of timing things to the best of your ability. But let's see what happens, man. Jaboni's Pizzeria. First of all, love the name. I love that you're in the chat. You can put it once. We'll get to it. We're all about that. What site do you get the imbalances? You don't mean unbalances. You mean the imbalances. So what I can tell you is here at Real Trading, our platform, which is P Pro 8, it has this, which is imbalance locator. So when we give you the imbalances at 350 when they come out, it's in the market-wide feed if you have the NASDAQ in the New York called the SIP. But we have this built into our platform where we can then just view the imbalance locator. I'm going to make an assumption that most good brokers probably have access to this. Maybe it's like an add-on feature or something, but for us, it's just part of the platform. That's why at 3:30 you'll hear us say, early look imbalance on, it just say LUV comes out as a sell, to the sell side on LUV, or Tesla's looking like it's going to be a buy at 350. That's what we're getting at when we mention it. But yep, that's one of the advantages here at Real Trading, is we do get those into the platform. And again, we let you guys know. And when 350 hits, and you ask us, is there an imbalance on this stock? We'll let you guys know that too. So just going to go back over to Starbucks. See, that's the first time I didn't say Shopify. Look at that. I can get a stock right. So it broke the local high here. We reloaded, broke the local high. There's me getting wicked out. Immediately regained resistance. So generally speaking, 9 times out of 10, unless something has drastically changed in the stock, I'm going to want to jump right back in. So I did at the 70 level. It just tagged the 50s and trying to put in another lower high. So just trying to play the scalp game here in Starbucks. Up 2%, but trend down since about midday here. Again, it's not what you were doing, it's what you are doing. And since about, let's call it 12:30 or so, that's been just trending down. So trying to short some pops here in Starbucks. Tesla, no change. 190, it's long at 7s. It's been bouncing off of 198 even. It can't go any further than 50. Still looking for it to test that high at 199. If we get 99s, I'm out. Looking for a secondary break in Tesla. And even Uber, like I was just talking about how Uber was so strong. It wicked the high, so good thing you didn't take any breakouts here. Wicked the high once, pull back. It's trying to retest the high of the day again. Still a strong name. You know what, maybe this is just a buy the dip situation here on Uber, but it's just not moving. I want something which is going that maybe isn't that, was that GNLN, which was wild, by the way. That's already at 50. It got to 50, got to 16 bucks, pulled back, went to 12, now back at 15. It's holding above the previous halt price, so this is still going up 500% on this GNLN, which I had never heard of, obviously, until today.
No, I never heard of that stock either. All right, so, okay, that's still Disney, but I was been trading this one. It's funny because Shopify is the one that's really starting to go downside, not these TQs. We just got a 23. Let me zoom in a little bit. We just got a 23 fill and then out again at 13s. Every time we get a fill, I am trying to get a little bit out as we go here to the downside, just in case, you know, we do get this crazy run. Like, I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I still get the feeling that the market wants to go to the downside, but it's still remaining flat. So regardless of whatever feeling I have, it doesn't seem to be caring about that one. If I'm getting nervous about anything, I think we should take a little bit of advantage here and take something out on Shopify. If we fly through 22 again, we'll sit on this bid, a little bit of a move down, hopefully gives us this fill. We're not a part of that. We could have been, when you see different gateways printing, you could use different gateways. So a Y is a bat Y fill there. And that's going to be something that you don't get paid to get filled. So we're going to sit on a gateway where hopefully we can get paid. There's a dark pool print there at 22. Let's see if it runs us over and we were able to somehow, we're starting to get part filled here, get a fill on the bid for Shopify. So that's hopefully going to come through. We are getting hit now at 22, but it might bounce off of us. Would like to see it clear. We just got some part fills there. And again, the volume is not huge. We're like 14 shares coming off. Like, it's just very, very random fills happening right now on Shopify, but we did get some out there, so that was okay. Again, got to be on the right gateways most of the time in order to grab some of these fills. So that's what's happening right there. All right, and then as we go, we're still waiting for 40s here. So Shopify looks like it wants to go down. Market looks like it wants to go up. Robinhood not moving at all. So those are sort of the tricks of the trade right now that I'm trying to deal with as we wait for this market to potentially go down.
Something?
I don't know. I mean, here it comes back in a little bit right now. So here we go, back into 18s. We're still going to wait for a fill a little bit lower than that. So far, not the greatest here. We're having a fine day, but it's not. These futures aren't really doing much for us as we have to wait for something to happen. Wow. Maybe over to Amazon. Yeah.
J&J just went back underneath. So it came out with that possible agreement on a settlement price and gave it all back. Actually went underneath support from when the news came out. So a lot of times you can be looking for, like, there's not even a green candle on this retracement until it already took out the low. So it just never happened for this thing. And watch out for this GNLN. It looks like it's coming on the back end here. It just made the first distinctive turn at $17. So there hasn't really been a pullback since the move. This could be at the halt price was $13.50. I think that'd be a good area for a potential bounce on GNLN. Sometimes you don't have any levels except for these halt levels and the stock goes nuts. And I'm not going to sit there and pull up. Like, if you go to a daily chart and there's like a crazy upward level, you might think about those. But where it's trading right now, you're not going to find much of anything on that. So I would look at that halt price and see if it can hold it. Tesla just bounced off 198 again. So the question will become, do we just stay in this 50-cent range and grab that scalp trade? Or does it break down? We lose on it and it goes into VWAP, where I probably look for a dip buy at 197 if that's going to hold. Starbucks for short. I feel like I should have already been into Intel, but it's just not going up. You can't short a pop if it doesn't actually pop.
No.
That's sort of the thing, but if it never pops, it means it's still going down. It's a tricky one because it's just not moving. So a lot of times if it's not moving, the answer should be just look elsewhere. So it would be tempting to just sort of get into it, but I'm not seeing an obvious trade there. Nvidia is the other thing. This 110 on Nvidia seems like it's just a brick wall. It can't seem to get above it. I think it's pretty clear here that the market is just waiting for a shoe to drop, and I don't want to force the action $1 away from top to bottom on this one. So Tesla might not be holding on to that bid. This is the first real test underneath to those prior highs. If it loses it, I'm risking about $0.25 here on this Tesla long. Probably should have been more aggressive trying to scalp this one to the outside and look for some short. Maybe Uber is just a retracement. If it's not breaking the high of the day, there is always this chance that we can get a trend break. But that's not even close yet. Like, the trend here I'd be looking for is hold a VWAP and then this trend break into VWAP. Yeah, that's not actually too bad. This actually looks like a trade, but it's support till it's not. That's the thing. Like Nvidia 109, it's support till it's not. Tesla's okay till it breaks down about 10 cents from here. As far as I'm concerned, you just want to wait for something to happen. This either bounces off this support, maybe you think longs, or we just get a clean breakdown. And I got no problem with that.
All right, I don't got a problem with that either right now, but it's a chicken dinner winner over here on Shopify. Shopify is now $1 in the money, and there it goes, man. I mean, we've been talking about this trade, and we've been getting it out too, right? We got those 22s. We talked about getting part filled. Nice hat. This is an older hat. I found it today. I was going through my hats. I was like, maybe I want to wear one. My wife has. I have to ask her what hers is. Something about a hen or something. All right, so here comes. Oh no, bees. Oh, hers says Queen Bee. That's what it is. It's a bee. It says Queen Bee on it. Okay, so some company makes these hats. All right, so here we go. Downside move into $68 again for Shopify. So there it is, man. And again, this is why this is number one P&L today, Shopify, because of this. So boom, right to the downside. It's being able to reverse it up. We were long. These are all longs. Green to red, those are longs. Purples are shorts. So we just, as soon as we broke 69, we kind of felt some ways and started to go short on that name. So that's definitely working out there now, your dollar right there for Shopify. And we still have a piece on, so we will continue to hold that. It looks like the TQs may or may not want to go down again, but we just keep on reloading it. And now hopefully this move down will happen for us. Never too soon, but never too late at the same time. So we'll take it when we can and do our best here for these triple Qs and hopefully what winds up happening there. We still have a stop out on Shopify. Robinhood, I might just get out of this because it's boring me literally to death. I mean, there's nothing not literally. My kids say that too. Like my kid's like, oh, I'm literally 10 years old. I'm like, no, you're not. Today you are. Like yesterday you weren't. And then my kids are saying now, oh, Dad, you sold all this stuff. Like, what does that even mean? Huh? You sold. It's like, thank you, Adair. It's like you gave up on it. Yeah, exactly. Paper
sold is the.
Yeah, not like this. I was like, anyways, talk. All right.
As long as it's not the skibbity.
No, they're kind of done that now. They're kind of.
That's where I was. It was so frustrating, especially at the dinner table. Skibbity this and skibbity that, and I'm like.
Yeah, that's not Sigma. That stuff right there. All right, here comes a push back down.
I know where you. I see. That's the other thing they say all the time.
Lemon. I have a game tonight, so I gotta. Oh, the recap show. Michael Na's talking. He wants to talk about China, and he wants to talk about. He doesn't want. I want to talk about Bitcoin, anyways. He wants to talk about China. I want to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about that tonight. But this today.
Really?
Today. Well, because Alibaba, he knows that I've been. I mean, I think a lot of us have been trading Baba, but how much we like Baba. Baba's a good position in my long-term account. Well, we could talk about that too. But I got baseball tonight, so we got to. I forgot to.
We had our last baseball game of the year. Was
yeah, we have another game tonight, and
I meant to show this in the morning show, but I didn't. I have to give a huge shout out. Like my daughter and wife were at the Toronto Blue Jays baseball game, and there's a local broadcaster. His name is Jamie Campbell, and he's an absolute legend around here. And he's he's leaving the game for personal reasons, but he's had a fantastic career. But he took literally for 3 or 4 minutes to just have a conversation with my daughter out of nowhere. When he was finished his little bit of a segment, which was really cool. The guy's he's really kind, super gracious, and he's a legend around here. If you're in Toronto sports, you know all about Jamie Campbell. Coolest, just super cool dude. And she was loving it. She was eating it up. And she doesn't even know who he is outside of just watching him when he's at the Dome. I thought that was really cool. It's amazing when you have people who, whether they have an audience or whether they're a little bit famous, and then when you meet them, they're just completely down to earth, and they'll just give you that time, which I thought was really cool. And my daughter, maybe one day she'll want to call some games. She's definitely got the feels for that sports commentary, because that's what she'll do, although she is awfully critical, I find. She's more likely to be like, oh, that was so easy. How'd you make that mistake? I'm like, right, sweetheart, that was a 100-mile-an-hour pitch. It's not that easy to hit those.
Right.
She keeps it real in that regard. I'm like, Vladdy he fouled it off. It was pretty good. But she's like, no, he should have hit that. That was easy. It was right down the middle. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Shout out to Jamie Campbell there.
Great dude.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. I feel like I ran into him before too, but I can't remember where. All right. So just real quick here. All right, Shopify's $1. You know what? I said I was going to get out of Robinhood. Maybe we'll just offer something out and get out of it right here, right now. My biggest position right now by far, though, is going to be TQs. I mean, we've averaged it in. It's really the only position that's really, on my mind right now. Shopify, we're almost out of it. We have that 10% left of this name. So even though we are $1 in the money, that's going to be one that we are watching very, very carefully right there as well. So we'll wait to see what happens here for Shopify coming back in as well there. All right, Nvidia. I think things could start to break down, man. I mean, okay. All right, props up to anybody that rocked with this trade here. Let's see if we can get it back in right now. TQs, hopefully we get a downside move. I mean, here we go. We're now 20 cents in the money. This is about 1-to-1 now. Let's just put another, although we just got a fill right here. What was that fill? 05s? 06s. So there it comes right back up. Let's see if we get a fill down here now at 59 or so flattish and put this 1-to-1 for, well, a little bit better than 1-to-1. We're going to get out if it broke 40s, remember? So right now it's coming back in a little bit. Hands off. We'll try to take a little bit of an out there as it comes back through. Wells Fargo, Nvidia, AMD. I'm just trying to check what's on the radar here that might or may not be printing. Here's some bank names.
Just very quickly for you guys here. Remember that trend that we were just drawing on Uber? Strong stock up almost a full percentage, but it had an afternoon hold of VWAP here. There you go. There's your loose trend line. It just broke the trend and came right back in. So if you've seen this before, like the short back into like the prior key level, which was a support level right in here about 69.13. So I just grabbed the short when it broke the trend line and then tested it underneath. As long as it holds under here, like it back into VWAP for a bit of a retrace. Still got 20 minutes until we get imbalances. So there's a lot of time to work here. Intel, we said we'd take it. It just came right back to that 35 zone that we had it before. I'm short at 30s. Creatively enough, if it breaks that prior high where I got trailed out of the VWAP short, I do want to jump out of it. Don't need this catching a bid late in the day. It's got so much room to retrace. It could always get pretty nasty because Intel's been down so heavily. That's the tricky thing. I saw this last week, and it's a good point because almost every single day there was some kind of a comment about how far Intel was weak, and then someone said in the chat, I don't remember exactly who it was, but it's so hard shorting something which is at 52-week or ridiculous bottoms because all you see is that big gap to the upside. Trend is your friend, but it does create a cautionary tale that small percentage, small moves can be big percentage moves on a stock when it's this far to the downside just because of how far it's been bled. That's the reason for a 5-cent stop here. Don't need this going from trading a 5-cent range to 20 to the upside. If it's going to scalp, great. But if it's going to start to break this one out, I don't want to be fighting this one in the afternoon. We just got that Uber trade on the trend break. Starbucks is still kind of hanging out where it was when we left you. Right in here, 76.80 with this local bottom that we got the last time at about 55. Looking for it to retrace right back into that prior level.
All right, we got faded back up there on, we just talked about GNLN there a little bit there, Green Lane Holdings, 37 million, couple halts, just halted right now, 250, reopen up to 15 and just kind of hanging around right now. I don't actually have my Trade Ideas platform open, but I'm assuming it's going to be a short float situation
actually
here.
Doesn't.
Right now, I can look it up here, GNLN, hold on a second here. This is the Benzinga Pro platform, GNLN right now, so we'll clear this. Short float of only 18% right there. A float of only 500,000 shares. So that will do green line for you there, Tisha, as it appears to be rocking right now to the upside for GNLN, looking to break through 1550, and there she goes right now, and next thing you know, 17 maybe here for green line. I mean, it's going to take out 16 in just a couple minutes. So there it goes. Nice upside move for GNLN right now happening right in front of our faces. So again, a good move up. Just took out that 1550. Now there it goes. Look at that. Look at that. There goes 16. We just talked about this and there it goes. So now it's starting to get upside. There's that 1680 or so is where we stopped before. Now it looks like it's having problems hanging out here at 16, but there it goes. Wow, GNL, a nice move right there. We are starting to pop off right now, though, as we come back in a little bit for these TQs. I'm going to put another bid at 09, see if we can grab it. Now, we just sort of withstood it going all the way up to 20. We do not get the 09s. There it is, so we get them now. Hopefully, this falls back in and makes our day for this. But nice little move there for GNLN and the TQQs. So there it goes right now. We did get reloaded. And there it goes. Nice downside move for the TQs. So pretty good opportunities right there. You're welcome, Tisha, for that one. And good look on that, man. GNLN is still blasting up.
It is, that thing is a little bit spicy, to be sure. Adrian in the chat, I believe, I mean, today is Monday, so you asked Brian Shannon soon. I believe Brian will be on Tuesday. So Brian Shannon will be on the aftermarket with the recap show with Sean tomorrow. He's on Tuesdays. Tonight will be, well, we have Michael Noss on Monday. We had him this morning. We'll have him aftermarket tonight. So Brian Shannon tomorrow. If you want to talk a little anchored VWAP action, he's on pretty much every single Tuesday afternoon in the aftermarket show. So definitely stick on for that. And if you want to check out last week, then go ahead, or the week before. He's always had some fantastic ideas. Right now, Nvidia is testing that 109. If it loses 109, it's not we. If it loses 109, I think the NASDAQ's still going to have trouble holding on to that 186.
Let's hope so.
So let's see. It just bounced off it here. Looking for this to be a bit of a turn and break to set a downside on NVDA. But hey, the market hasn't really broken this bottom at any point. We're just trying to be very, very patient for it to happen. The first pressure is being put on it, on this name at least, right here, right now, 109.
Guys, we did not miss a beat at all, man. We just took 5 days off, came back, and just sitting right back where we belong. Look at these TQs, man. Nice little drop down into 59 again. Shopify is basically my whole day. Well, no, that's not true. I mean, Shopify is a huge stock, which is pretty much my whole day. But XOM was a great trade as well. We're trying to work these TQs right now as well. Amazon, another green name for us. And then Robinhood. We did really good on Robinhood. Well, we just got out now at 57. We didn't do good. We're red on Robinhood, right? It's going to be our only, well, we'll have to wait for this TQ to settle down. Could be our only red trade there. And it was because we got a little too excited early. We bought the 50s, and that wasn't even the problem. It was this last little dump as we tried to take the pre-market, and then we came back in, and then we had that move back up, so put a little bit more money in our pocket off of that one. So we'll wait to see what does happen with that. Shopify's still $1. Disney's still moving. I'm trying to find names that are like on the radar. We can talk a little bit about Rumble. I just retweeted something. Donald Trump is back on Twitter right now, it looks like.
Yeah, he tweeted this after.
Well, so no surprise there, as Elon, I guess, was funding some of that as well. So
they're doing an interview on X.
Yeah, so that should be good. So we'll see about that for Rumble. I mean, I think that's bad for Rumble, obviously, there, because if he's going to be on Twitter, it means less showing on other platforms maybe. And obviously, Twitter does have that decent daily active user base. We don't get those numbers anymore, but but definitely more than Truth Social and anything that Rumble would have as well. So Rumble reports tonight. Feel like, have they never reverse split or not? Or because this is $3, it doesn't look like it. Nice move up.
I'm going to say
Rumble's probably okay, man. I mean, we'll wait. Obviously, if it loses this 5, there could be a problem, and then back into 4. Let's pay attention to Rumble tonight. I mean, that should be a good report. We'll be having that tonight with Adara and myself as we go. So, yeah, Rumble tonight down 4%.
20% short float on Rumble.
Yeah, it should be.
And I don't think it's. I don't think it has
and all that kind of stuff before.
But DJT, by the way, on that Twitter news for Donald Trump at lows as we speak. Obviously, not good for them either. It's actually done 5 million in volume, but it's right back into some lows. This is threatening to make an all-time low, and if it does, I mean, there's flat bottom breaks and then there's all-time low flat bottom breaks. That's like 22 and change would be that bottom. It's trending down. This would be when there was that spike in the middle of the day, and it's been trending down ever since. So not a very good look for DJT. We'll keep our eyes on it, but I can't imagine that being good news at all. Like they just reported their earnings, and we know fundamentals haven't mattered in DJT for quite some time. But like it was like 900,000 or something was revenue, and it's like a $5 billion market cap, which kind of speaks for itself to a certain degree. But to each their own.
All right. Yeah. Watch out. Well, I mean, market caps seem to be.
It is what it is.
Yeah, like, really disjointed from actual productivity of a company. There we go. Okay, so 20 cents we just took on Shopify on TQs, trying to let this one bleed down. But it's only 20 cents worth of risk, so we'll take that into effect. DraftKings, a new name. Let's put a new name on the board here a little bit if we can. That's down to $30.
Yep.
Oh, wow, what a call. Oh, my God. I didn't realize this, man. We had talked about this right here on earnings. I was like, this is one of the names that is hugely at risk and not something that I wanted to buy at all. I was trying to justify. I was like, what about with football coming through and all that kind of stuff? But no. They're all the way to the downside. We knew customer acquisition cost was going to be a problem. And I was even saying, like, if customers are running out of money, obviously you've seen that with Lulu and Nike and Starbucks and all that. It's going to be hard to keep upping those accounts, and they're going to have to start to give some more promotions and all that kind of stuff. But DraftKings really starting to bleed down right now. I don't like this stock, especially heading into, I don't know. I mean, like I said, certain people have called 15 of the last 3 recessions. We'll see, even less than that. But anyways, breaking through 30, I guess we got to 28 on that crazy day, but that might be a level. I feel like any stock that's really been depressed, you want to look for like maybe that little level right there. So 27, 28 that we bounced off on that Monday, that week ago today, those could be some decent levels, which makes sense here. All the way back to last summer. This is where we were last summer, down here at 28, 29. So DraftKings gives it all the way back, and now I don't feel so bad. We had bought DraftKings down here, got it out on the way up. We talked about when it was bouncing around here, 34, 35, 36. We were nervous about this top and got them all out there. Did not enjoy this move back, but now you can see DraftKings really all over itself. We had QuantumScape. Just looking at another name from Michael here. He talked about this earlier as well. Yeah. QS today not doing anything really, or did it? Yeah, just dumped early. I was saying when Michael was talking about this, didn't he like it for a little bit of a potential long bounce there? I don't know.
I think it was maybe a
squeeze.
Sorry,
yeah,
I was pointing at Sean's chart.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I just feel like this is a falling knife, and it's down below the 50 period. I feel like $5 maybe we'll talk about this, and that's going to be tomorrow. So 10% more down on QS is a
good round number.
So that'd be down there.
Boeing
maybe moving.
It's got a big short float, so like anything can happen with that one. I think it's like those are better when they start going and break out something. I find with the short float, like my whole thing with anything with a high short float is, well, you want to get in when someone's getting stopped out.
Yeah, I can.
Like when shorts are getting stopped or threatened, that's when you want to be in a squeeze name, because that's where that's where the juice is. But anyways, Uber took out this high, so we got out of that one. We'll slap the L on Google. Uber, while that was happening, Nvidia did manage to hold on to 109. It's a NASDAQ stock, so there you go. It did hold on to 109, allowed it to make its test. So there's the test of 09, put in the higher low, and kind of broke out that channel, got the quarters in here off of that bounce. I tried to add a VWAP, but it didn't really get there. So waited for it to make the bottom and then curled to the upside to get into this one, looking for that 110. It was a sell zone at 110 before. Let's just figure there's going to be sellers there another time through here on Nvidia. Oh, and the other thing, Nvidia had a whole, just like the week before you left, I think 4 out of 5 days Nvidia had sell imbalances of 3 million plus. There was one buy, it was like one day it had a buy imbalance, but 4 out of the other 5 days it came out at 350 with a sell imbalance. So that's worth watching on Nvidia, even on the strong days. Most of the time it was a big sell imbalance. So want to be wary of that, just in case it's up at that 110 level, want to take some profit or have a trailing stop in. Something of that regard, just to be ready.
Yeah, I always want to be ready for any plays. Right now the NASDAQ is doing absolutely nothing. So I guess we wait.
We chilling. Amazon rocks.
I don't even know what to say. Amazon, maybe. I mean, we had a good Amazon.
Can just mention that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I loved Amazon. We loved the 170 break and never got there today, but we were able to dip by Amazon, and that was a great one. We had to hold it against ourselves. We did get stopped out on a 166.50 break right there, but then bought that dip. Was very, very. Was it 166.50? Yeah. Or 166.60, whatever that pre-market bottom was. And we're trying to do the same thing over and over again pretty much every day. Wait to see about a level of support that came in for Amazon, and it did. So we were in it a little bit too early. We tried to play some of the closing prices from Friday. That did not work out for us, needless to say. And then Amazon sort of bumped back up there into the open today, and then the fall, and then the bump. So there's our bid down there at 166.15. Like, I could always just add an extra 0 at the end of all of my trades, really. And then up there, 168.50. So that's like 250 to the upside there, but just hard to capture it on a full default, that's for sure. So by the time it came all the way back up, we did really well. Turned this name from what was a red name as we dropped out there into a positive green name just by buying those dips. And sometimes that is a very, very slippery slope. We talk about that all the time. You do not want to continue to do stuff like that all of the time. With Bitcoin now at 59, that's not good. That's actually quite yuck now that I see that. Coinbase not doing anything, though. I wish Coinbase was moving. I'm thinking about breaking this level, 191.50, before we get too excited about anything from Coinbase. So that has to break that 190, 150 area before we get to the downside right now. As Bitcoin, you can see 59.1. IBIT, I think, should be a little bit different. Hopefully there's a level that's a little closer for IBIT. Yeah, so they're, again, you know, Coinbase is kind of hovering, trying to break out or trying to break down. This one actually did break down already. So we got to wait maybe VWAP to short it, 33.85. I don't know. Again, crypto seems to be a little less exciting to me right now.
There's an interesting level on Mara here. Although I just realized Mara went short sell restricted today. This was down 10%.
How low is that? $15?
This is $15. It closed at 17. So yeah, Mara. I'll do this for myself because I probably should have noticed that there was an SSR bounce play off of exactly $15 on Mara. Exactly $15, and it was 10% down. Like that's, I mean, if you're looking for a bounce when a stock goes short sell restricted, it doesn't get any cleaner than that, but it doesn't matter because you can't rewind the clock, go back in time. There's a flat bottom break here on Mara in play at 1550. So once, twice, 3 times, it's just chilling out at 1550. The only problem with this trade, it's not necessarily a problem, it's that, as I just said, it's short sell restricted. So if 1550 breaks and you set a stop order for, I'm going to go short if it prints 1549, you can't hit the bid unless there's an uptick. So you can fire the order. Whether or not you get filled depends on whether you get a bit of an uptick. So I'm going to have my eyes on this one very closely. I'm actually going to put a stop order, and if we get filled, we get filled. There was one of these last week. I forget which one it was that was short sell restricted, and it did a flat bottom break, and it was gorgeous, but it didn't matter because you didn't get the fill, so who cares? I think Snapchat did that once on its bad earning day, so all you can do is get the order. 1550 breaks, I want to be short on Mara. Going back over to Nvidia, still holding 109 at the 109.5. We already took some out at that price. Oddly enough, 109 is exactly where it broke out this morning, well, at least where I took the breakout trade. Technically, it broke out from here at about 107 and change. So Nvidia on the comeback trail, back in through VWAP, holding on for dear life. I mean, if VWAP doesn't go, then I think this market's got a chance. We still have not breached 18.6, but we can't really go much higher either. So it's not like the market's rallying huge off these levels. You just got to take what you can.
All right. I'm still looking for opportunities there. I mean, of course, DraftKings starting to move now after we talk about it. Down through $30. We can check. Wait, let's have a quick look at XOM again here. We'll just click on it on our blotter and have a quick look. So trying to fade back upside again. I like that. I kind of want to buy some XOM. You know, I mean, we still own some XOM, but probably not enough. As I wonder if oil is going to be battling back a little bit. We had XLE on our mind. This is the big ETF that I own. In this space, we've talked about that. So that's a nice move back up on this one. But again, at the 50-period moving average. So you can have USO, XLE. There's a bunch of different names. USO is going to be oil. This is oil services. So different, different buckets there depending on what you're invested in. Is Texas Instruments moving around? Oh, that's TXN, not NQ. So there it is right now. 5-minute moving average. Apparently, hold on a second here. Our 50-period. Let's just see if there's anything happening. Yeah, so there's the 200. Trying to break a little bit higher. Kind of boring again, man. Not much happening. One more time here for that. So give me a name there then, somebody. PayPal? Okay, we'll look at PayPal. PYPL. I actually saw that they had a nice little bounce back play there, PayPal.
It was a good week for PayPal, actually.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
$63, $66.
It was a good continuation play all week, although I just look at it now. Double top 65 from Friday and today, and then trend back in. We talked about the bigger the level in the lesson of the day, the bigger the level or the better confluence, when it does fail, you can get that trend reversal. That's exactly what it looks like is happening. Good news, holding Thursday's higher level support. And the other story would be like 62.5. Like how clear is that? 62.5, 62.5, 62.5. I think if it holds this, then you've got a nice consolidative effort for PayPal, which is breaking out of a nice little downward channel. I actually had this, it was a nice little breakout when it did it last week, but it doesn't really matter at this point. So breaking this little downward channel, if it holds 62.5, that would be good on the daily, at least from my regards. But it's down 1.5% today. Not looking great today, per se.
Hey, what's up, Eddie? He wants to ask you, if you want to be part of our great community, you got to get into that chat. You got to hit the like and the subscribe, of course. Eddie goes, why take 10 cents on some and more on others? Yeah, I mean, that's a good question there. I have over 280 fills today, so sometimes it's just about the feeling that you get. And we've been sitting here, you know, trading is fun when things move around. And of course, I come back and the market completely stops. Like, we talked about how wild last week was. And you know, if I was sitting here last week, completely different story.
Friday afternoon. So slow.
You know, and like, look what's happening right now. You want to talk about nothing. I mean, the futures are doing nothing. So obviously there, when I'm looking at stocks like these, like the TQs or something like the futures, all I can really do is scalp back and forth, right? And make as much money as I can when the market is doing this, always trying to make sure that we try to take the bottom of the ranges, try to short the top. And then if we do wind up getting blown out, which is fine, that does happen sometimes, we've still captured enough fills here. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like right now, I still have about 65 or 70% of this trade. I don't even really want to get out of anything here. But it just keeps on seeing, like now it floats down. I'll put a bid at 02. Maybe we get a fill. We'll take out a 10% of, no, less than that. Take out like 5% maybe of what we have left. If we give me that 02 fill, nope, still missed it. Now there he is. We get that now. So nice fill there. And then hopefully if the market does drop down, we'll have a certain percentage left. So that's part of why. And again, we talk about this, you know, we don't share our share sizes, but I always tell you, you know, we're putting on a little more shares here. And so sometimes when it goes 10 or 20 cents and it goes really quickly, you know, we've been here for 24 years, seen profits come and go real quick. We talk about the success of the traders behind us, the success of day traders, period. It's very, very low. So sometimes when it's there and you make those trades, you got to get them so that you're capitalizing on good trades and not resting on these bad ones and just waiting for something to happen. So, you know, be as patient as you can be and try to develop your own strategies. And yeah, that's what I do. So some of the stocks will wait for bigger moves. Like right now, I don't get a feeling that this market really wants to dump that much. There's been nothing indicating here on the futures that that's the case. We bounced off VWAP. We did this. So look, here's a perfect example. The TQs, right? So look where we just got out. We just talked about getting a piece out, right? So there we go. We get out at 03. Now it rips, goes right back up to 18s again. So if you don't get anything out, then you're still holding the bag again. So, you know, you gotta hope that the market's gonna do something. It's 330. I still think that the market does have a chance to fall down a little bit here. We're underneath VWAP, so for me, that's a good sign. Let's just keep on holding out that the market drips a little bit lower than where we are right now, and we'll be able to capture some more profits. With a target really about 90, like 90 would be great. I actually don't have any bids. Actually, I'm bidding 86s. So if we fall back in, let me put a 90 right now, and if we fall back into that level, we'll take another fill. But yeah, that's part of the reasons why we're doing that. And honestly, the strategy here has put us right back to where we need to be, man. We're sitting on the throne again today, and we're happy with the trading. So we come back after a week and don't lose a step. So, you know, pretty happy. Would have liked to make more on that Robinhood trade, though.
You can always get more, but you've got to trade the market out in front of you. Like on Friday afternoon, it was basically the same thing. Like this market was super slow. It was wild all week, and then on Friday afternoon, you just had to be so super patient and adjust. There was only scalp trades to be had, and we talked about that with Palantir in the morning on Friday. Even when it was going, it was just 15 cents at a time. 15 cents, it just ranged around. Then it got to 20, even when the break at 30, I should say. And when it broke 30, it was like 15-cent move, and then it pulled back in. It was just very, very much not as explosive of a move there. There was the break on Mara. I should have said this here. We had to pay for locates on Mara. It was 6 cents per 100 shares on Mara. So we had to pay for locates on this. But it did break to 15.5 and was able to get filled at 48. No 49s to be had. As I said, it's short sell restricted. It's trying to work its way down. Bitcoin underneath that 60,000. But it's more about this 1, 2, 3 times that it just crested this level and finally broke to the downside here in Mara. So something happening. It's breaking a flat bottom. Take the short and see if it can't make another leg down. Down 9% already, Mara. It's not like Bitcoin's having that bad of a day, but it's relatively weak. Let's go to the desk. Adara.
We've had quite a few small cap names running in the afternoon here, including GNLN and INDO. We also have your OGEN, this one up 50%, actually getting into highs of days right now and getting some of its highest volume candles of the day. Earlier this morning, this company announced it had a study indicating that its treatment does not cause DNA damage in an animal model. So positive treatment results here for OGEN, about 4.5 million share float, and getting some social media attention right now as well, guys.
There you go. Go to those movers. That GNLN, by the way, usually you think when a stock halts to the upside makes a couple of big pullbacks. Like this is it pulling back through 16, gets to 17, $2 pullback off of the $17 failed break. Now it's just holding the line at 15 bucks. Like not really much of a dump fill here. I'm not paying for locates in GNL, GNL, and sometimes there's something like this which might set up for retracement. I'm not really buying this one, but it's holding on the line at 15. I'd expect that you might see some floodgates open up if it loses this $15 level. I mean, it's $5 to VWAP at this point, so be careful with it. Like I said, the only thing we got new was Mara, which is trying to slowly eke its way back down to the lows. It just tagged the 14 level. Starbucks, I mean, it's still weak, relatively speaking. It just rolled again off of that 76.80 level. It's just tracking down back into the 60s. And we'll see if it gets back to that 50 level it had before. Like 76.80 into 76.50 has been essentially the theme of the afternoon for Starbucks, as that one was strong all morning long. Starbucks gap up, absolutely churning. Can you tell when this turned from a strong stock to a weak stock? This is why we always bring up VWAP. It breaks VWAP. VWAP turns instantly into resistance, and like that's a moment that the shorts took control. I would say, unless you had this breakdown up here. And since then, it's been a relatively weak one that we have to the south side. Nvidia still holding on to this 109 level. Not many things are looking good in the plus side, I think, in this market. Nvidia is certainly one of them, but it can't even go more than 50 cents off this support. 109.50 still resistance. We did get the early looks on the imbalances, but there was nothing of note, so didn't really say anything. Southwest, 4 million to the sell side. Visa, 4 million to the sell side. Both of those very likely to pair off, even if they come out as big imbalances. They tend not to be that big of a deal. But I still have my eye on Nvidia at 350. This has been the one where there's generally been a big number and then a bit of a spike in one direction or another at that 350 level. So I'm going to keep I'll be in it right now, but even if it breaks 109 downside before, I'd still be looking for a trade opportunity in Nvidia off of that 350 move. Let's go to the screen with Adara.
Bit of a more subdued day in general, with a lot of these S&P 500 names making smaller moves in either direction, but we do have some outsized moves to discuss on the S&P 500 with catalysts, including Supermicro up more than 7% right now on the day. We did get some news from the company this morning saying that they're going to participate in some upcoming investor events, about 4 over the next month, including some held by Rosenblatt and Deutsche Bank. So some investor events for SMCI to be aware of in the coming weeks. We also have Key Corp here, KEY. This is a regional bank. They're actually currently up about 9% despite falling a little bit throughout the session, getting a 14.9% stake here acquired by Scotiabank through a $2.8 billion strategic investment scheduled to be completed over the next year. So nice look here for KEY with that investment from Scotiabank. Last but not least, here we have PODD. This is Insula. This one is in the health technology sector. It is currently up more than 3%, getting a price target increase from $200 to $220 from Barclays. So PODD also on the move up here. Quite a few outsized moves, guys.
All right, guys, we're just stacking up right now. So let's go floss it out. I mean, there's the TQs. There's the reasons why we sit here and we talk about what we're trading all day. And there it is, right? We're trading TQQs. We talked about that, and there's the trade for me. Just fell in. We just got 91s there on that move. 91s? 92s, sorry, 92s. So we just get 92s there. Great move in. This is finally what we waited for. So boom. Yeah, props up, man. This is what I told you. We're trying to be more comfortable again with this trading. So we come back in here. We really don't miss a beat today, and it's just rock and roll. Yeah. Let's go, man. I don't know. This market's not going to the gates of hell, but there's the call. There's the call. So hit the like, hit the subscribe. I mean, that's it right there. We talked about building this position. We talked about having confidence. We talk about all that stuff, man. And there it is right there. Nice move down in for the TQs. Look at all these shorts right there. Nice push down for the triple Qs. Down into the basement here. Now 40 cents in the money. Now $1. We've already talked about that. What's up, Shopify? Hopefully that can get down in even further than where we are right now. As we're rocking. We're rocking. We are jet lagged. We are tired, but we're still here, man. We're still putting up those numbers. We're not that tired. We're still putting up the numbers that we need to be where we're at. So good day so far here for Shopify. And again, like we said behind us, man, it's tough out here. It's tough out here. Pick your poison. Stay in your lane, right? I felt a little bit sort of like not watching levels all last week. but we still came back in. We hit the number one names that we wanted on here right there. And then today's trophy day again. So we come back after a week, lift the trophy up. And from what you've been seeing here on the show, it'll be the number one traded account. So far, so good. There goes TQQs. Bring it on down right now if we can get this one back in for TQQs, the NASDAQ. The big trade for me, we've already sort of talked about that, is this Shopify. That's really what's holding the day for me today. If we have everything else but not Shopify, we're flat on the day, but we have Shopify. So it's a nice move down in there. We went long, flipped over to the short. To me, that's been the sort of the difference maker there for us on Shopify. So yeah, good trade there. Shopify going down, Q's now 30 plus cents in the money. Let's get another piece out. That move that we just had was good enough for me. I mean, we're always looking for a little bit more. We'll punch a little bit out there at 91s. I am bidding 81 if we do get a drip into the end of the day. Neil said, like, last week there was a couple sells there, and we're looking for Nvidia to get lower.
It was big every day.
Right.
Like,
so,
these were not small imbalances. One day was 7.7 million to sell on Nvidia. Another day it was 4. I think the smallest, there was a buy imbalance one day. The smallest sell imbalance was like 2.5 on Nvidia. I'm not saying there's going to be one today, but if there is, it was pretty big most of those days. And you did see some movement in Nvidia. Like,
right.
50-cent dollar spikes at 350 with 10 minutes to go. I'll be locked and loaded for that. You can't always hit it, but there was that one day where you could still get the second half of the move. Like, it was like a dollar move, you could capture the second 50 cents of that move if you were fast enough and looking for it. And then we talked about these imbalances. Sometimes they matter, sometimes they don't. I don't think I'm in anything outside of Nvidia where you're going to have an imbalance. Starbucks, unlikely. Mara, incredibly unlikely to have an imbalance on Mara. I don't think I've ever seen one. But it did that flat bottom break at 15.50. Again, we're just... Sean was talking about crypto, and I scanned. Coinbase was doing nothing. CleanSpark was doing nothing. Once, twice, thrice, broke 15.50. Just grab it as it's breaking a support, because last time I checked, we like the flat bottom break setup.
We like
right down in, testing the quarters, so it breaks 50s. You're able to get 48s, 47s and 48s. Actually, I have 47.5 as a price because I got a couple of fills. Had to move the order down because you needed the uptick. And now we're just going to look to see how far it wants to head to the downside. Nvidia, I'm just going to tighten up my stop here because it is getting in close to 350. Did not get this reload off of 109. Actually, no need to tighten it up. I actually have it right here. I was already at evens. So if it breaks 109, I'm out. Not necessarily going to reverse short unless it's a big sell imbalance. So I'm not shorting 09s just because it happens to break. At 350, if it was a big sell imbalance, I'd short underneath the 109 level. But that's what we'll be looking at for those imbalances. Starbucks, still chilling in the same range. But it is the bleed in Mara, for whatever reason, while crypto isn't doing much, it's back down 10% on the day. When is that going to be a good... Oh, it's right here. Yeah, it's already back at that $14 level. Mara, what goes up must come down. Huge level on the daily if it gets there tomorrow, this 14. Even. It's bounced pretty nicely multiple times off $14. This is the most shallow bounce that it's had yet. This is looking weak. Yuck.
It's a weak one. Right now, look what's happening right now. Yes, sir. It is going to be the big trade alert for you for the afternoon. It's the futures trade. Thank you again, Adam, everyone that told me stay trading futures, because there it goes, man. I mean, look at this, boom. Right now, a huge move in for the futures, come right back in. What a day's maker, saver, all that, if you are short with me here now on the NASDAQ. We talked about it breaking down, and you guys were like, what's up with that spidey sense and all that kind of stuff? Why are we short? Feel like we did a good job explaining that. Down goes the NASDAQ right there, and it's not even going down that far by any stretch of the imagination. So we are starting to clean this up. Remember where our target was. Target, hit. I mean, we talked about 58.86, right? I mean, we already got that fill. We just got an 80 fill. We got an 82 fill as well. So target hit, down to the down stuff. What's up, Adam, there in the chat as well. Boom to the dynamite. Big trade alert happening right there, honestly, in Shopify. Big trade alert on Shopify as well. Hood, what's up with Hood? Doing nothing, but that was a great one. We'll look to see if that can get traded there tomorrow. There's always tomorrow. All right,
Subtle
Google, yeah.
Well, that's actually not guaranteed. But
Yeah, I know, and nothing's
You have clouds,
guaranteed in these days. All right, so Google, what's guaranteed is that I got to get out some of this in my account, man. I'm really long Google, but nice bounce again. Wow, 150. Oh my. All right, so nice bounce to 157 and change. 165 we touched today on Google. We're starting to get to the downside a little bit. Shopify's starting to go, but Google down 1%. We'll look for some relative strength in that name, but today it is weak, man. Down 1% against the flat market. That ain't good. That ain't good at all. Google, we'll have to think about you on that one and maybe not averaging in. I'm not averaging into any of these positions. And I think the name that I want to buy on any kind of weakness, I'm going to have to look at this. Well, Walmart's actually has fallen down a decent amount right now. So maybe this would be something that your boy can look at here for Walmart coming back in through that 72 was the high or so. Yeah, there it is right there. What is that? Yeah, 71.30. So that had a nice move back into some support. So maybe 66 on Walmart in the coming
Thursday,
days.
they report.
What's up, Danielle? Daniel, they report on Thursday? Okay, yeah.
Walmart,
So
pre-market. Wait a minute, today's the 12th. Yeah.
I almost want to buy that pre-earnings.
Pre-market Thursday.
I think that's going to be a big trade. We've got some big trades happening.
And there's also that, Costco, whatever. But if you could go back and like on Monday, the list of things that were available to dip buy, it's almost kind of ridiculous because like when there's blood in the streets or when there's panic and fear, those are generally the best times to get in on the long-term count. If you were looking to dip buy a stock, Monday was the time to do it. But as I said, I had bids that were resting on Meta and Microsoft, and they happened to have been out for over a month, and they just happened to fill. Was not fast enough to get you anything off those bottoms. So two positions that I'm only in. No reloads happening on Starbucks. It stopped the real fall since 77 and is now just creeping and creeping lower. Mara, we're going to hang on to. As far as I'm concerned, like it broke 15.5. It's just clean. It's a flat bottom break. You risk a couple of pennies if it breaks back above 151. It's chilling down at 15 and a quarter here, trying to catch a bit of a bid and not doing a very good job of it at this point. So day trader cut, you're absolutely right. Get a little PPI in there as well. So we'll see how we react to some of that data. There was a big move off that unemployment number last week. Regardless of what you think should happen, we like the fact that we're reacting to news. Keep an eye on that VIX. But it's been a bleed on the VIX all the way back into those previous levels. Usually that means the market's going to hold up, but it's about to lose this 18.6 again. So out of Nvidia with 4 minutes to go, holding on to Mara and Starbucks and looking for a sell imbalance potentially on NVDA. It would be good timing if it broke that 109 for good, right at 350 on a big sell imbalance.
All right, I was like, oh my God, that's right, we're almost closed here. Okay, I'm just really, really enjoying ourselves here this afternoon. It's always nice when you put on those winners and those big winners for everybody, and they actually make sense, and they trade well, and they trade right into your pocket again, and that's what we did here today. So again, hit the like, hit the subscribe. We just got another piece out there on the TQQs. We actually just, as Neil was talking, we get that bottom piece there, 84s. Now you're starting to rip back up. So just, in honesty of talking about our position sizing again, I only have about 20 to 25% left here today. And I got to give a big shout out. There's 3 or 4 positive accounts. Neil, myself, Big Pat over there as well. So big shout out to Big Patty Ice today. So we'll hit the sirens for that one. And we always try to get some more. No, he did not get shorts in time for Mara, Patrick says. But, okay.
I only asked because I know that says, so Big Patty Ice behind us, active trader in Mara. I'd probably say looks at Mara more than any other trader here on the floor.
Yeah, he does. It's trading well today, Palantir and Tesla. So good job there.
Where's that
for
stock?
BPI. But again, man, it's for me, it's all about Shopify. We talked about that one. This is on the floor, P&L wise, number 1 stock. It's not even close as Shopify. So that's a big one there today to the downside, unless I missed one. But this is a big one, big short opportunity there for Shopify. Definitely put it in today and glad to have had that, man. And we flipped it up. It's a good thing we stuck with our guns there and went short because if we had sort of been sticking with our initial thought, we probably would have been dead on this one trying to buy the longs, and we didn't do that at all. So that was a really good trade for us again into that. But as Neil mentioned, we just have a couple more minutes left until the imbalances, and this is what they look like right now from the broker side of things. I'm going to get rid of the broker, and now we'll only see what's going to happen on NYSE and NASDAQ, and these all get updated in a minute and a half. So a minute and a half
Palantir never cut a bid.
We'll get an update. We can see what Palantir. No, I mean, Palantir 29 and change to the downside right there. Probably worth selling some Palantir. I got hit and got out of some of our Palantir as we were up into this area again on this move up there on Friday. I think we got some 28.50s. We were looking at this level. I always put 28.50, 28.75. So would have been one of those. We can go back and look. There was a lot of resistance up there. So we got hit on some. So it's not proud to say it. It's a better price right now. But we were getting out of some Palantir. So yeah, no surprise.
Maybe Kathy was selling there too, because there was a lot of selling that 29 for like a week.
Yeah.
On PLTR. So when it finally broke out, that's what happens, right? Like if somebody holds a stock down, if the stock's in an upward trend and then someone just holds the offer for like 5-6 days, when it gets released, that's where you want to be long. Keep it simple. Last I checked.
Don't say Elf Cosmetics went up again.
No, Elf was down.
Oh, okay.
On
good.
earnings, Elf was.
I don't own that one. My wife was all about that.
I made a Miss Marissa reference. I said she needs to buy more Elf products because they went down big time
needs to buy less of them, but yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, for the company's sake.
Yeah,
I didn't mean for your sake.
No, that'd be opposite.
No, but they're down another 10% today.
Okay.
So wow. I didn't realize this had broken through the bottom here. So not looking that great on Elf, which just out of my morbid curiosity, never mind. I was going to just check to see out what Ulta Beauty did, but who cares? Because it's 3:49 and 50 seconds. So this is Nvidia. I'm not in it, but this 109 level, let's see if there's a sell balance here that's going to come out in just any second now. There have been a few.
I just put a bid, got hit.
Nothing, still nothing. Not seeing any NASDAQ names. There's no NASDAQ names that have popped up here. It's still just LUV.
Okay.
TAL, Ford. 1.1 million to buy on Ford. Yeah, that's a nothing burger.
Yep.
Ford's like under $10. Yuck, Ford. Leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll all right, I'll put a bid here on Shopify. We actually did get, and again, so I'm going to bid Shopify. We're bidding 32s. Hopefully that does come back in. Right before that bid came through, we got an 83 right there on the TQs. So as Neil said, it was literally counting it down. I just waited, put a bid, got filled right before it came out, and you can see the result there as it goes back up to the upside. I don't know exactly what it is right now, but maybe at the bottom. We'll figure that out as we go. But for right now, 59 and change coming through. That's 59 back upside now for the TQs. Let's see if it does give us any kind of love on that one. Was there anything for me to tweet out, Ramin, today? I don't know if there was. If there was, please send it over to me, and I'll do that. As we do have the market recap show, make sure you do grab that Benzinga. Hit that QR code, get the live news updates for you. As Adair and I will be using the Benzinga Pro platform on the market recap show to give you Rumble earnings, which should be Rumble-listic.
Rumble in the jungle?
Today.
Best fight ever or not?
2 out of 10 says Ramin, yeah.
Ramin, do you know what the Rumble in the jungle is? Oh, Rumble-listic was a 2 out of 10.
Rumble-listic gets 2 out of 10s, but the ridiculous things that I always hear are getting, 8s or 9s out of 10s?
What's wrong with Rumble-listic?
It's too creative for here. That's the problem. We just use other ones like, I don't know.
What else we got here? Anyways, it doesn't matter. So as I said, if there had been an imbalanced trade, if there isn't one, don't do anything. There absolutely was not one. Nvidia is still at exactly 109, pretty much where it was before. I did get out of Starbucks so quickly.
It's like it's not unrealistic. It's Rumble-listic.
There's lots you could do with that.
No, don't clap now. Whoever's clapping now, it's over with.
Wow, Fabian.
It's over with.
Wow, Fabian.
Well, I really like Fabian. It's the other one that I have problems with.
No, Fabian just hit that cricket.
Well, whoever it is, they know.
It looked like it was Fabian. It's hard to tell, it's from my line of vision.
I can't see the other one.
No, I can
see Fabian right now.
It looked like Fabian was the one hitting keys, but I don't want to, to me it looked like Fabian. That's Fabian. Ramin you can't even see her. She's blocked by that camera. She's always being blocked by something, like she's trying to hide. You can kind of see there. Put your hand up there.
Witness protection program over there. All right. All right. So TQ is just continuing to fall down a little bit right now. We'll see if there's anything, any actionable trades happening here for the TQQs as it does continue to make a little bit of a move downside now on this name. So we just got another fill at 80s. We're right back into that area that we were filled up before on TQs. There we go. Okay, now we're starting to get filled. Nice little fill in the 70s now for this name as it continues to go. So decent little way to end the day here on the market. So yeah, man, Good trading here to end. There goes the market to the downside. We're pretty happy, man. Let's just hit the sirens. We gave this trade to everybody. It's the trade for me. It's the TQs. There it goes down into the downside. I'm just going to bid. I mean, our target was 80s. We're in the 70s now, so we've done this. Remember our short? We're out at 40. We're short at 23. That's 17 cents worth of risk. Now 55 cents in the money, so 4-1, 3-1 on that trade. Let's see where we go from here. But right now, it's downside for the TQQs.
Yeah, the market is now bleeding, absolutely. I got the last little bit of more. I have a trail on it. We hit 355. I'm expecting you could catch some kind of a bounce in most of these names. Just a clean flat bottom break here, 1550. I don't think it's going to get to 15 even, but even if it did, that was a monster reversal this morning off of this level. So I would expect there to be some buyers if you get down to 15 even on MARA, just a relatively weak name. It's got a stacked offer right now. So because it's SSR, you've got a huge offer and they can't hit the bid to go any further. If it breaks this offer, I'm out. If it breaks this low and hits the 10s, then I'm going to get it out on the bid out in front of that 10 level. So one way or another, if 16 breaks or 15 breaks, I'm out 16 or 17 wherever it fills me, or we're waiting for the 1551 level there on MARA. Just found something that gave you opportunity, and that was going to be it. There was that big time GNLN or green line. I'm surprised, but it ends up holding that $15 level, and believe it or not, breaking $21. So green line just continued to go. Thought if it lost 15, you were going to get a $5 pullback. It held 15 and gave a $5 bounce. So good on everybody in green line. Although it's about to, literally as I say it, it drops like $4. That's where I'm going, hey, green line got from 15 to 21. And now it's down $6 from the high on that green line. What goes up $6 can come down $6.
Is there an imbalance there? Maybe.
I didn't see an imbalance on green line, but 355 hit. I don't see anything on green line. I just got out of Mara, so that was my last position. It ends up hitting the 1511. So flat bottom breakdown, that's why we talk about key price levels. Some people like support resistance, some people like moving averages, just whatever you like. But when support breaks, that's what can happen. Mara down 11% today. That's a wild one. Very nasty day. Bitcoin might have moved $100 in the last half an hour. And Mara, for whatever reason, is bleeding. It's 3 points down and 11 points on the day here as it's looking pretty darn nasty. But yeah, that green line, this is why you never go broke taking. It's at $13 now. This was just at 19 when I talked about it 2 seconds ago. Now it's at 12. What goes up must come down. Yuck.
Yeah, those, I mean, unless you know something about those stocks, that's a tough one to be stuck in there and trading for sure. All right, so we don't have anything left, really. We just got to watch out for these TQs. We did have a good bid down there. We just got filled just before 355 at 80s. So we talked about that. Now it's trying to come back in just a little bit here. Let's see if it does do that or not. Trying to come back in right now is the TQQ. So we'll see if we do get a lower bid. It's 356 right now, so just, I don't know, 3 more minutes left in this market. It's too bad that there wasn't much happening, but I was glad that we were able to at least capture that move down there in the market. We pretty much called it, so that was a good one there today for us. And yeah, we'll wait to see if we can do some more damage tomorrow. Let's see where Apple winds up. Is it a high print or not today for Apple? So let's just have a quick little look there. 217. So yes, so I'm going to say right now that I believe that Apple will be like if the market can battle back tomorrow a little bit, I think Apple has a chance. Like 217 holding out right now. There is a private placement on GNLN right there. So GNLN.
Sometimes they wait till aftermarket or the pre-market to do that.
Yeah, 6.5 million private, 2.3 million shares. So down to the downside there. So yeah, that's what happens there. But only up 400%. So far, so good there. Today for anybody looking at GNLN. Hopefully you're able to get out when we had talked about that earlier with Tisha, but now only 2 minutes left in this day.
Yeah, just a couple minutes ago, I just canceled all of my stop orders. The last couple of trades there were just Starbucks, which didn't really move that much. Like a 10-cent win, I think, on the last of those shares. And then Mara continuing to break down. I did neglect to mention this when we were talking about Palantir in the low of the day. I'm just going to very quickly do this now. $29 tomorrow. I'm not calling it a gap fill, but 29, 29, 29. It doesn't quite get to 29 today, but that'll be a key level of support, providing we don't just gap right through it or something
70s.
in the aftermarket. Always a chance. You can wake up tomorrow morning, Palantir could be at 28.70. I have no idea, but for now, this Friday low and Thursday afternoon support of 29 about to be a key level here with now 90 seconds to go on the day. That's what it's all about. You try to identify things. Sometimes at the end of the day, you can get a good level come in, and you want to be prepped to trade around that one. I feel like Palantir 29 is going to be one of those tomorrow morning.
So we are, that's why I was looking at Apple as well. Right now, so we just got filled on the TQQs. I mean, it's still 20 cents in the money. Obviously, it didn't give us everything we needed. Well, it did. We were just holding that last 10% here to see what we could do on the way back in for this name. So here comes the TQQs right now, trying to make that move one more time back to the upside. But we just got another fill, so just one more fill coming through. And then we'll hop over to the big desk where we'll be doing a half-hour recap show, and we'll talk about all the stocks that are up and or down today, including Rumble, which is coming through soon. We'll do a quick little rundown of some of the big sectors that are to watch out for later on today and tomorrow. But here we go, man. We'll talk about some oil plays. Weird. I might just bid this all out right now at 06. I just put a bid here at 06, see if we can get that with only 20 seconds left now. Let's see what happens here with the TQQs and the market coming to a close.
You just said the word Rumble.
Yep.
Rumble just made its biggest move all day.
Upside?
It's not a huge move. It's not a huge move, but it's easily the biggest candle of the day on Rumble. When we come back from ringing the bell, I'll show it to you guys. But 3, 2, and 1, ring it, Adara. No, seriously, like this is the market's closed. It's the NASDAQ up 0.17. The ES closes green, very barely. So now, Magic 8 Ball, you are now 0 for 4. So I think all you got to do is fade ye old Magic 8 Ball. 0 for 3 last week, 0 for 1 here today. This is what happened in Rumble. Can we quickly go to this chart? Just to prove that I wasn't actually making this up. Like Rumble was doing nothing and then made this little breakout. They report after the bell tonight. Want to give a shout out to Fabian and Ramin on the 1s and 2s. Welcome back, Ramin. So Sean was away. Ramin was away. Now everybody back in the house. Big thank you to Adara and Sharif on the midday. Learn to Trade was all about earnings and earnings season, which is always a good lesson we learned. Rumble just popped another 10 cents. So trying to go higher into those earnings. Rumble, young man, Rumble. I'm not betting for or against it, but it's a heck of a lot more fun when squeeze names with decent short floats go up as opposed to go down. That's just how trading is. So I kind of hope that one goes to the upside myself. Big shout out to Brennan as always. And just a reminder, you're not going anywhere. You're staying right here. You're jumping over to the desk. It's a market recap show with Rumble now at $6 and Sean Adara and guest Michael Noss. Go get him.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm just logging in right now to get ready to rock and roll with our Benzinga Pro platform. I'm loading up our trade ideas as well to go over some of the big movers here today. Did we just get Rumble or no, Adara? What just happened there?
Rumble and Wolf, which is the other one I had on watch here, they're both expected at 405. I am not seeing Rumble here. Let me check here on TeraWolf, which is a small cap crypto miner. Right. And they're also not here yet. They're both expected to have larger expected moves here, which I can just go over as we get set up. TeraWolf, we're expecting here an implied move of 16.2%. Rumble, I was seeing 11.7% when I made these notes. I heard Sean say 14% earlier as well, so that expected move could have changed since when the notes were made. Let's find out what we got going on here, though, as we head into that 405 time, which is, again, when we're expecting both those reports. Those are the two larger reports in terms of implied moves we're expecting today.
All right, here we go. Yeah, we'll talk about that in just a couple seconds. USO today up 3.16% as we get going. I also want to find all of the stocks that we normally talk about here. So as we get ready to rock and roll, we'll go over these. I mean, the heat map today was pretty exciting, but, you know, again, into the close. We did have that TQQ trade today. This is U.S. oil dipping down in a little bit, but still up 3.23%, as we did get some worries there from Iran and Israel talk. Not the greatest, but we'll wait to see. Nvidia up 4%, silver and gold as well today. GDX, nice move up 3%, silver up 2%, GLD 171 to come through. SMH, I mean, we talked about that Let's flip over to the daily chart for SMH. Nice bounce back, man. I mean, what a good level there. That 200, as if it almost nails that April low back there a week ago, Monday. Nice move back up to 227 going through on that one. We could check out Rumble right now just to see if there is any sort of movement. There goes Rumble right now. It's a monster move up now to 613 and still going up 5% now goes Rumble. Still nice upside move. Jets ETF down 2.3%, but there goes Rumble. I'm not logged into my Benzinga. Oh, actually, now I am logged into Benzinga. So
I'm still not seeing their numbers.
Okay, yeah, we'll get those numbers when they come through. We don't want to misreport them, so Adair's all over that. But there goes Rumble again. Nice upside move, and you can see taking down $6, trying to get higher. Short flow 20% on Rumble, so we will watch out for that one as well. I'm just looking through the earnings. There's not much else coming through right now today. So what I think we could take a quick look at here is some of the heat map here from the day. So here we go. This is today's heat map. I actually got to get the show going right now as I have an old show playing in the background, so I can't do our roll call. I got to get the right show going on here. This week's trading off to a pretty subdued start. I mean, we did have a nice move up. If we could show the screen here, Fabian will go over some of these names coming through right now. NASDAQ and the S&P 500, along with many Mag 7 components, as you can see here, kind of just telling a mixed story. Apple up a little bit, Nvidia just up 4%, Google up, down 1% story, Meta down, Microsoft relatively flat as well. AMD 1.8%. And then where was Tesla on here? Tesla did not have a great day. There it is right there, down 1.24%. For Tesla. The ongoing activist saga there with Starbucks continues. Wall Street Journal reporting Starboard has taken an active spot in Starbucks as well. We can still see them going to the downside today. J&J just flat down 0.46%. But wait a second, was Starbucks downside? I know they were up that a little bit. Was it up there at the end of the day? Yeah, okay, sorry, up 2.6% goes Starbucks there today. But there's that bounce off on the daily chart. Look, I think Starbucks has an opportunity to get higher here. I like the name, and we have Rumble. Let me just quickly go to see what's going on the chart here for Rumble before Adair goes over those numbers. So nice move up to 630, Adair. What is Rumble looking like?
Yeah, so I'm getting these numbers from their report themselves. I'm going to compare them to the analyst estimate I have. Their second quarter revenue came in here at $22.5 million. That's well above analyst estimates of $19.69 million. It's also up 27% from their last quarter, but it's slightly down from on a year-over-year basis. So this time last year, they did $25 million in Q2. This for Q2 2024 reporting here $22.5 million. Also, their monthly active users, or MAUs, reached 53 million for Q2. This is up from 50 million last quarter. It's also apparently the 10th consecutive quarter above 40 million average global users, or global monthly users. So good look there. They're also saying that they expect their revenues to increase sequentially throughout the year, and they're going to, quote, continue to expect to move materially towards adjusted EBITDA break even in 2025. So they're currently in fiscal 24. They're looking for adjusted EBITDA break even here for 2025. They also beat for earnings per share, lost 13 cents per share compared to the expected loss of 15 cents per share. I'm going to look here as well for TeraWulf earnings, but I'll let you guys know if we get anything else coming through for Rumble.
All right, thank you, Dara. So we did talk a little bit about, the market today and sort of that it wasn't really moving too much here today, and that's the truth. Here's the triple Qs. I mean, we had a nice little dip early. If you're able to get some of that, then the huge move back up, and then all afternoon, not much happening. We do have, of course, PPI and CPI, one after another starting tomorrow, with PPI followed by CPI on Wednesday. And not too many earnings. I mean, if you're in the tech space, going to be a little blah, but we do have Home Depot this week. We do have Walmart this week, followed by Target as well. Nvidia and other semiconductors later on. When Nvidia's is what, the 26th, I want to say, 28th right there, post-market of August the 28th. So we still have a little bit of time to go before we get that report, and that's going to be the big one left for Nvidia. But Nvidia today holding fort, man, still up that 4% as we get going, bouncing off that $100 level. Nvidia to me is looking pretty sweet right now. We talked about the strength in the market going to be having to come from these tech plays. There's some of those dip downs from last week. We talked about that, the 8th. They're coming through down into $97, down into here into $92. So we did have some big moves on Nvidia, but look at this. We cleared the way again, back up through this 107.50. That should have been a break long probably this morning. Let me just see if what was that play this morning? Why didn't we have that? 107, Okay, so that would have been a little bit of a problem. There's 107.50 up to 108.50, pull back into 106, but really represented that 50-period moving average before eventually dipping down. Its brethren, AMD, did not find as much luck, but still holding forward up 1.78% is Advanced Micro Devices. Holding out pretty good there today is AMD, but again, some of the strength there in Nvidia. SMCI, we talked about this name splitting up. What strength today, man? Up 6.5%. Should have looked at this a little bit more. There was some talk there in the chat about SMCI, but then it comes back into $500, down into $540. We'll figure out about SMCI and where that name eventually winds up, down to $500 right now for SMCI and trying to bounce. A name that I've really liked, and we could talk to maybe Michael about this, but there's not much to talk about now. Uber's already made that bounce. I mean, wow, huge move to the downside there. Really, I mean, you've had to have some bids down there to catch that 55 bid, but wow, what a move down in, now all the way back up to 69. This is like a really crazy runner. And I know Michael talks about relative strength and weakness. Try to find the names that are up in bad days and vice versa. I feel like Uber can work for a minute now. They were everywhere in London. They were just everywhere here in Toronto, major metropolises. I really like Uber. We actually went on an Uber boat as well. That was a lot of fun there really on the River Thames. Yeah, so that was
Do
really
they have
nice.
the little stickers still?
They do. Well, it said Uber boat on it, yeah, but
so you just knew.
like 200 people. Like it fit. It's really awesome.
It like
yeah, I got a
people on a
cappuccino. I got a cappuccino on the boat.
That's really cool.
Yeah, man. It's all about that little bit of flat
good
white action. Man, I'm going back to England maybe ASAP, maybe tomorrow.
I wanna go.
All right, so nice move down there. FXI, we do want to talk to Michael a little bit about strength in other markets, and we will talk about some Chinese strength. He and I have gone over FXI many, many times. This is the large cap ETF. Probably, I don't know if Michael's I'm spoiling him here a little bit, but I know he likes KWeb as well. We will talk about that. We'll get some of his take on some of these Chinese names coming through as well. I wanted to look at some strength in Bitcoin possibly. Again, we went round trip on that. There was I don't know exactly where it is on iBit, but it was 79,000, and unfortunately it's closed over here on my Bitcoin screen, but we went from 70 down to 49 and back all the way on iBit, so that was a huge move on this name as well. I feel like strength in iBit maybe a little bit better than Ethereum Trust right now, as Ethereum's really gotten killed. What about IWM? I mean, a lot of people love the breakout in these Russell 2000 names, but that breakout short-lived, right? I mean, maybe it lived for I was going to say week, maybe 2 weeks there. Nice break on IWM above this 211, 212 area, but then the fade right back out, and then it gets killed, right? When the market's going to go to the downside, this is going to happen. And you can stamp this. Go back a month ago. I said, if the NASDAQ ever gives anything up, you're going to see Bitcoin absolutely crank, and that's what happened to Bitcoin as well. Fell much more than the NASDAQ, obviously, and you're seeing the same sort of thing here in IWM. Not to say that there's not some opportunity here in small caps. Let me check out Carvana, another big one that sort of holds forward here. Carvana is still super strong. I actually don't really understand this name too much, but you can see what's happening right here. Current debt of $6 billion right there, so that could be a little bit of a problem. Market cap of $27 billion, so they can cover that with their market cap. But cash on hand, where's their cash on hand here? $1 billion, so they obviously cannot cover their debt, but they're not the only company that's going to have that kind of a problem. Palantir, nice move down in the 200 period today, down 2%. The one name that I always thought was within risk here for a while, DraftKings, that name continues lower on DraftKings. Yeah, people saying right now downside on IWM. You want to break in here with anything happening?
I was going to say, too, I put this in the chat as well, but IWM, I actually saw JC Peretz of All Star Charts post about it today, saying that there is some potential for that one to maybe crack a little bit higher. So check that out, because I thought that was some interesting chart analysis there. Also, I put TeraWulf and Rumble earnings in the chat. We got some more stuff coming out from Rumble. Rumble Cloud apparently partnering with the Miami Dolphins and the Hard Rock Stadium. This is going to be an infrastructure services partnership with Miami Dolphins and Hard Rock Stadium. We also got TeraWulf numbers here. They did beat, it looks like, for earnings per share, or sorry, not for earnings per share, they beat for EBITDA above expectations. They also had revenue here slightly above estimates, 35.6 million. Analysts were looking for 35.4 million in revenue. EBITDA, they had 19.5 million. Analysts were looking for 18 million. So good look here for TeraWulf. If I see anything else coming out from either of those companies, especially Rumble, looks like they're still releasing some things. I will let you guys know. I'll put it in the chat.
I don't know if it's, I guess last week we had Monster Week, right? We had a great amount of viewership last week. We had huge ratings due to the fact that the market had its best and worst day in the last 2 years, both last week. And for some reason right now, we're holding 3,000. So thank you so much to everybody watching today as we hold 3,000. We're back, baby. But there's Rumble right now dipping back in, down into $6 right now is Rumble coming right back, 20% short flow. But one person that I'm not short on is Michael Knott. So we're going to go to him right now. It's Trader Talk. Hello, Michael. Long time no speak besides this morning. How are you?
It's been forever. I was following your trip on Twitter and Instagram there for what you're posting. Looked like
I was gonna say follow my wife for more.
blast.
Yeah, my wife will be the one posting everything, but it was really fun. Have you been before to London at all?
I have not. I've been almost everywhere, but I haven't been to the UK yet.
Oh, it's definitely, besides the fact that it threatens to rain every single day, I think it only rained on us for about 20 minutes, but lots of stuff to do there. I definitely recommend it. Despite there's a few protests that I saw in the news, but nothing actually in London, so we were pretty lucky with that, and we escaped quite well. So I'm glad to be back and glad to have you on the show with us. So we passed a couple notes back and forth here today. And last Monday, you did talk to Neil about some possible strength in some of the Chinese names. And I actually noted as well, because I've been buying Alibaba. I think it's a sleeping giant, man. I mean, some of the numbers that these guys can put up are absolutely unbelievable. Too bad they're in the wrong country. I feel like this was a U.S. Company. We'd be back near in and around some 52-week highs. You got anything to talk to us here on Alibaba or anything else in the Chinese space that we want to touch on?
Yeah, so the reason for the idea of the strength of China I got on my chart here is just FXI, which I know you were talking about, but the main thing that we were looking at is that when the market had that awful collapse on Monday, FXI almost that day closed green from the Friday's close. So it wasn't affected nearly as much as all this Japan reverse carry nonsense that the United States was. So that's what put it on my radar right away. When generally speaking, when the market crashes, there's just an old saying that all correlations go to one. Just means that everything usually crashes with the market, but FXI didn't. So that's where we're taking a look at that, and then trying to find what names make up this index. It's mostly BABA, to be honest. That's a big one. And I was just looking at this very simple downtrend line that was breaking, and just told Neil at that time that, hey, if we can get above that, I like the look of that downtrend line. So this one, I like. I'm kind of concerned with earnings. You can see I've been watching this for a long time with a lot of markups here. But as long as it's holding this $75, give or take, I like the look of it. And hey, we know the late great Charlie Munger was big on this name. I think it was one of the last trades he ever took, was buying a whole bunch of BABA. So let's see if if they end up being right. But for me, the trade is pretty simple. We've got this very clear level at $75. If we can stay above $75, if we can keep the relative strength going, then I like the look of this name and some other names in China as well.
The time you and I will talk a little bit about ETFs and stuff like that. I went over the FXI a little bit. I just have a daily chart here. Maybe if I actually put it over to a weekly chart, we can get a little bit of a better look. I mean, we could drop anchor VWAPs wherever we want, but this little bottom here, again, that was made back in October. You're kind of hovering around 26, 26.50. Do you like BABA better than this? Is there an ETF in China that maybe you favor? I mean, we have KWEB, we have the yin and the yang. We talk about that a little bit as well. Anything where maybe if we weren't willing to be stock specific here, Michael, do you like FXI or KWEB, or do you think it's better to stick with a name like a BABA here?
I think BABA is going to be pretty safe with it because it's one of their largest companies. But I do think the ETF of just FXI makes total sense as well. This other one that I have to research a little bit that I have up here as well is this CraneShares Global Carbon Strategy. I'm not too sure how it's calculated. I think it just buys countries that produce a lot of carbon, but I have to read into it a little bit more. That one looks interesting. But I see the logic in sticking with the larger Chinese names like BABA, like FXI. If you want to get a little bit more dangerous, but also have a little bit more potential chance of return, I would take a look at this TME, this Tencent Music Group. This one, if we look at the daily chart, has been absolutely on fire for a long time. A little bit of a pullback and a breakdown. It has earnings tomorrow before the market opens. So I would maybe watch this one on earnings. If it can reclaim this $14 area, that's going to be more speculative because it's a smaller company. It's all about how safe you want to be. For me, with China, I like to go to the bigger guys just because I'm more confident that the Chinese government is going to shut down BAVA than I would be, shutting down one of these companies right here.
And we don't too much worry about planning trades regarding the election. Is that something that you're nervous about? I know you don't look at too many macro things. We're just looking mainly at charts. But would that have any sort of an effect on your opinion as we get closer and closer? I think it's 80-something days until the election.
I don't really. I'm just looking it up here now. Seasonality.
Yeah, that was.
Essentially, I don't look at. Some people try to say, "Oh, I think this politician's going to get in, and therefore I want to own this sector."
Right.
And I think that politician's going to get in. I want to own that sector. I don't really agree with that too much. This is a great chart. So it's funny. I heard All-Star Charts get mentioned, and I love that. I love that. That's someone that you guys are following because I'm a big fan of JC as well. And this is the election cycle when it comes to the 4-year average from 1950 to what happens. And we're looking at this part of the chart right here. And this actually shows the average election year. And I kind of alluded to this in the morning show that we're right about here at this top. And generally speaking, you have this choppy action to a little bit of a sell-off, a little bit of downward action until kind of right here at the bottom is November. And, it's kind of cliche, but the market likes certainty. So it's not so much who's going to win and what sectors am I going to play or anything like that. It's more about when we're in this uncertain period where both parties are polling at about 50-50 and we don't know what's going on. I need to understand that the market and the participants of the market aren't really up to committing in, buying anything really strongly, and they're not committing shorting anything really strongly. So you get a lot of this back and forth action. And then after this election, generally speaking, you get a bit of a rally into the end of the year. So I'm going to watch the market and see how it lines up to that seasonality of, us being not very committal on which way the market's going to go. So I'm going to be more adapting my trading style to buying pullbacks where mostly I'm someone who's trading with the trend.
Shout out to All-Star Charts and JC Peretz as well. He's been on the show, and thank you for bringing that up. Again, Michael, always nice to, you ask a question, you instantly can get some resources. So Twitter's actually a pretty good thing for some of these things, and thanks, Michael, for doing that. Look, just kind of right into the same thing. Talking about energy, we did a little bit of that today. What's been disappointing? Uranium. So I want to talk to you about URA, right? I mean, here it is on the weekly chart. Now, there isn't too many names here. This is a 200 period on a weekly. We're basically into that right now. That's 22 and change. This is a weekly, so we hit that last week. We saw everything really, really come in. I don't know if we're going to get back to that. I almost feel like it needs to test it again to understand if it is going to hold. That would be my out if we're getting into this one. But I think I want to dip my toes a little bit into URA right now because we do have now an out that is pretty defined down there at 22.23. And again, this is a weekly chart. So trying to find some strength in something that may eventually get popular again, uranium. I mean, I don't think energy is anywhere out of the pocket yet, as it seems like we're using more barrels of oil now than potentially we ever have. But SMR is a name that we're being asked about in the chat. This is something that I think you and Brian Shannon were talking about as well, SMR. So any plays on this? Are we out of this name? What are you thinking about SMR or the uranium sort of plays in general? Any thoughts on this sector?
I'm right there with you. It's not because of a moving average, but if you go to my charts here, I have all of these prior highs that happened in 2022, 2023. This is where I was looking at it initially for this breakout. I remember us chatting about that on the show here. We're right back down to that level. So I'm with you that this level needs to hold. You're talking 2450 or so on URA for their uranium ETF. I do like the look of that if that can hold. I like trades like this because I know exactly where I'm wrong. The risk rewards in my favor. If we close below this level too far, then it's just time to go. And the bounce that we could get even back to all-time highs will offset that. Now, SMR, just because you're getting a chat about it, I am out of SMR. The play here was to see if we ever got back to all-time highs, which we did, and then we failed all-time highs pretty immediately on this name. So it's funny, it wasn't planned, but this is the trade of the week. So if you go to tradeIdeas.com/tradertv, you can sign up there for trade of the week, where we send out once a week just some pick that's come through our scanners completely for free. And this was actually the pick this week. So Steve, who puts that together, who's a colleague of mine, is looking to get back in SMR. So I like the trade, but for me, the way it failed, these all-time highs are a little bit worrisome. I was long all the way up to them. When we kind of failed back down here, it was time for me to go. One ETF that I think is interesting that I've been watching a little bit is NLR. So NLR is uranium and uranium related stocks. So you're not just playing the actual commodity itself, but you're also playing names like SMR. And what was that crazy mover for a while there, that NNE? That's in there as well. So you get a good ETF of basically the makers of these ETF are trying to benefit if nuclear power becomes a thing. So it's a little bit of the underlying commodity, and it's a little bit of stocks that would benefit from it. And then we've got this clear level here at 70 for NLR. So this may be a way that I'm going to express this trade as well, just in case maybe the commodity itself sells off, but some of these names that are uranium related end up pushing higher. Then this might be a good middle ground to see if you can get the best of both worlds.
Hi, Michael. Thank you for being here with us. There's one name that you mentioned a while ago that I wanted to touch base on, and that was that golden arch pattern we had in McDonald's. They had earnings. The earnings were not necessarily the strongest report, but it actually had some strong support coming off earnings. So now that we've been a few weeks removed from that report, what are your thoughts on this stock right now, MCD?
It's looking good, and I remember us having this chat, and the idea was, right, you can make the joke there pretty easily that's your golden arch is there, and 250 was your level. And I think I have to remember, because I don't actually have this position, but I think my commentary at the time was, when these tops turn out not to be a top, those can sometimes be the strongest patterns. When you have something like a Head and Shoulders or a double top and it ends up not being a top, you end up getting a lot of people caught offside. You're never going to get a really high short float in something like McDonald's, because the float is so big that people could be short billions of dollars of McDonald's and it would never show up in the float itself. But you can kind of see patterns like this. So I like that. Even though I obviously don't know the earnings, but I'll believe you that the earnings were not so great, and then you have a positive reaction off of them, I think that's fantastic. That adds to the credence of that. If this is not a top and just a consolidation pattern, it ends up being that, then I think it will probably be actually a pretty good trade and a pretty good long. So I would just kind of zoom in, and it looks like we're putting in what could be considered a little bit of a bull flag here. And I think you could just play it like that. So if we end up breaking out of this bull flag, you can take your trade right there. You could, worst case, put your stop down here below 250, or you could just put it in the low of the flag. And if we get back up to 300, that's a pretty good risk reward for such a slow kind of safe mover like this. So you're not going to worry about it dropping, 50% overnight or anything like that.
So I know, Michael, thanks for that analysis there. We like that, those golden arches. We're loving it. But there it is. Okay, so just really, really quickly, is there any sort of an idea right now, something that we haven't talked about that maybe you want to touch on? I mentioned maybe Bitcoin, but that didn't do too much today. I sort of thought it might do something off 60,000. Is there any sort of, you don't have to touch on that if you didn't want to. Was there anything maybe, MSTR we've talked about for Bitcoin, Coinbase, anything like that, Mara, or any specific names before we wrap this up?
I'm going to go with the Bitcoin that you just mentioned.
Perfect.
The reason for it is that it looked so bad when the market was crashing there. Below, we'll use MSTR as the proxy. The Bitcoin chart will look relatively the same. When we were below this prior support right here, it looked like the whole thing was falling apart and Bitcoin was going to crash entirely. And then it just rallied back up. And that shows an underlying bid that's out there that's very interesting to me. So I want to wait a couple days and see if there's any more repercussions of this reverse carry nonsense that happened. But I really like the reversal that happened in Bitcoin. I think it caught a lot of shorts offside. And if we hold this level, it could be higher. And again, I mentioned it a few times, I love trades like this that I have a line in the sand. As long as we're above it, I'm bullish. If we break below it, I'm bearish. And I will mention again, Mara is becoming more interesting to me as a target for this year. I backed off the Mara for a while because it wasn't doing well as a company, but it looks like, based off some report I read this morning, they're going to be doing something like MicroStrategy, where they raised a bunch of money this morning to buy more Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin gets moving, and with the 25% of the float or 1/4 of the float in Mara that is short, if we get a move in Bitcoin, I think I can go back to the well here on Mara one more time.
Michael Noss, thank you so much for joining us one more time. We got to put a wrap on this one. It's 4:28. Thank you so much. Over 3,000 hung out with us and Michael. So I want to thank you for, again, coming this morning, coming again today, and we'll see you hopefully on later in the week as well. It's Michael Noss. Thank you so much. They can find you just by simply Googling your name, as we've said many times, or find you on X or on Instagram as well. Thank you for the great ideas, and we will chat soon. Thank you, Michael.
Thanks for having me.
Ciao. That's Trader Talk. All right, look, can't have better guests than we have on the show, and Michael is just one of them as well. Home sweet home, we say here on the sticky note today, because we were back. We came with some banger ideas, I feel like, today. Amazon was a really positive note. If you come over to my screen right here, we'll just show quickly the sticky note. I don't have to go too much of the review here, but yeah, we had Robinhood, 1850, Apple we like long, XOM was a great trade, and there's Bitcoin as well. Join me later on. TQs was a great trading today on the market as well. XOM, a little bottom pick as well. Robinhood didn't work early, but worked late. As that started to go up to the upside, we got to do roll call. All right, look, I got to get out of here, man. I overbooked myself one more time as I got a game over there at Hyde Park in just over an hour, so we got to get there ASAP. So right now we will do roll call. Look, I want to thank absolutely everybody for joining me and Adara here on the recap show. This is the best show for a reason. I feel like we've got the best guests. We bring in you live earnings reports. And before we do recap, roll call. We're still going to do roll call. Let me just review Rumble just real quickly. We won't talk about any of the numbers, but Rumble right now, weekly chart now. Let's go to a 1 minute chart. See what's going on with that. 609 right now, holding 4%. So a little disappointing of a move. I thought we were going to get 13 or so percent right now, but it's roll call. So let's see who's here. Thank you so much to Lava, who also says, thanks, Nospa. She says, thanks, Santa, says Adrian. Yeah, you know, I was in a Loblaws, which is a grocery store, and Christmas music was playing.
You're joking, right?
In August.
No.
And I was looking around. I was like, what's going on here?
Like exclusively Christmas music? Or it was like a mix with
I got out of there. I think it was 2 songs in a row.
Thank God you left.
Enough for this, man. Cash out, man. Give me that sushi and I'm out of here. All right, now, what did we get yesterday? Oh, it was ribs. We got some ribs. The daughter wanted ribs, so we threw those down. Yeah, that was really nice. Okay, there's Neil Roberts is here. BB is here. Brandon Townsend is here. Sebastian is here as well. Yeah, we have our cash cow hat on right there today. You're right about that one. Compu team right now. Nice to see you as well. Travel Buddy is right here as well. Eli, Trader Buck, Lionel Martinez. Hey, what's up, Lionel? They're Tay2 certified. Tate McRae. Hertz Scramblers here as well. Jora FX, Anureg, the Piper, Zion, Lala, and everybody. Look, for the team. Thank you, Fabian, for staying late. I'm back now, man. Thank you for the lemon tea, by the way. That was really nice. There at the end, it got me going a little bit here. But I got to scram, but I'm back tomorrow at 8:30. You're back tomorrow at 8:30.
I am also, yes.
When's your next time off?
I have no idea.
Take some time off. I mean, why not? Why not? We're all doing it around here now, but it's great to be back with everybody. Shout out to Brendan, Neil, of course, Sharif, Fabian, someone named Ramin. I don't know. She's all right. Do not send her this clip. And we'll be back tomorrow. So for everybody here at Trader TV Live, I'm Trader TV Sean and Trader TV Dara. Go find us all over social media. Until tomorrow, I'll see you then. Ciao, everybody.
Bye.